Okay, we're live. Time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Sorry. Okay, so the first thing I have is the approval of the agenda.
I had some copy and paste, got interrupted and forgot to change. For the appropriation transfer down under 9, the community corrections, that bottom fund number is 9160, like the one below. And then on the cash transfer from the animal shelter fund, 4923 to 91, it's where that says 9160 community corrections. It's supposed to be 1180 animal shelter restricted fund. And those are the only 2 changes I have. And I apologize for those.
I'm sorry. You do this. Okay, are there any other changes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve with the changes Chris had.
I'll make that motion to approve with those changes.
Okay, motion made by David,
Second.
second by Gail. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, next is public comment, and we don't have any. Next, we have RJL Solutions, Perry County Economic Development Tax Abatement Policy.
Good evening. Jonathan Blake, RJL Solutions. Actually, before we get to the policy, just want to give a couple updates on work that we've been undertaking. First, as you've likely seen if you've been on the Perry County website, that has been refreshed and updated to match the county's new brand that we rolled out in December. And then actually last week, we rolled out the new Perry County Economic Development Corporation social media under that name. Through that, we'll be posting 2 to 3 times a week various posts about what's going on in the county. We're inviting businesses to reach out. We'll be doing business highlights. The first business highlight will actually be an island for all of their work for the county in IT services, and then refreshing that website. And then we'll be doing special posts as projects come up, and we have special projects moving forward. So keep an eye out for that. I sent to the council and commissioners earlier this week a copy of the Inside Indiana Business article regarding the Ships for America Act. That's in relation to the conversation that we had with Senator Young over in Jeffersonville back on December 1st. The community survey is still out. We've received 376 responses as of right before the meeting, so we're continuing to get responses from that. And that is available through a link on the website. We're continuing to push that out on social media as well to garner more feedback. Continuing community relationships, so working with Council on Aging, the 4-H Fairgrounds, CVB, and then engaging with the Indiana Healthy Communities program for Perry County. And then going to be working with the Redevelopment Commission to provide some training. I know we've got some new members to that commission, so I think it's important that we provide a training to them, make sure that they understand their roles, responsibilities. And then also want to discuss with them some updates on the Web Wheel project, current economic development initiatives, and then talk through opportunity zones, which is through the Economic Development Administration under the U.S. government. So got quite a few things that we're continuing to work on. But drawing your attention to the tax abatement policy and procedure, that's the document I handed out right before the meeting. You've seen this in your email, but I wanted to formally present it tonight. I'm not asking for any action to be taken tonight. I really just want to kind of go through what the policy does and why I think it's important. So I'm not going to go line by line, but I'll just give some highlights here and then be happy to take any questions. First of all, the policy itself sets out the minimum application requirements that we would expect anybody that's seeking tax abatements in the future to follow. It would establish a tax abatement committee. As written currently, that committee would consist of 2 members of the county council, 1 member of the county commissioners, a member of the plan commission, the LEDO, and then the superintendent of schools. That's similar to how tax abatement committees are formed in other communities. It's kind of a best practice to make sure that all those individuals are participating in those efforts. Essentially, what the tax abatement committee would do is they would be the kind of the first stop for a request. They would review that request, and then they would ultimately make a recommendation to the county council. So it's kind of a stopgap to make sure that that review is done and kind of help the council make those decisions moving forward. Generally, the policy discourages speculative development. So what we wouldn't want is somebody to come forward and say, well, I'm gonna build this facility, but I don't have a user in mind, and I don't know, who might, benefit from this. Generally, that would be discouraged because essentially you're abating property taxes on something that you don't know is actually going to come to fruition. It sets forth various factors for consideration, including but not limited to number of full-time jobs created, the number of full-time jobs retained, hiring employees who reside in Perry County, and then attracting target businesses or industries. So that could be a business that aligns with the industries that are already here. It could be a business that we want to attract to the county for future growth. But ultimately, making sure that we're evaluating those factors, and those then would help play into the decision on whether they get a 7-year real property abatement or a 10-year property abatement. If there's a lower investment threshold, maybe they're only going to invest $500,000 in a building. Well, maybe you don't want to go for a 10-year real property tax abatement. Maybe you want to do 3 years. So those factors that are laid out in the policy would help make that decision or help guide the council on that decision. One key recommendation that it's not in the current draft, but it's something that I think would be good for the council to consider. Wouldn't be something that you would have to implement, but Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-14 does authorize the governing body, so that would be you as the council, to impose a fee of not more than 15% of the abatement or the property tax liability that would be collected by a taxpayer each year of a deduction. That fee, you can think of it almost as like a payment in lieu of taxes, but those aren't one and the same. But really what that fee does is, say the total tax liability is $100,000. Well, you could take up to $15,000 or, with the developer's consent, collect $15,000, set that aside in a fund that then can be used for further economic development initiatives. It could be planning, it could be infrastructure upgrades, it could be signage. It has to be used towards economic development. It can't just go into a black hole. It can't just go into a fund and be used for budget shortfall. It has to be used for economic development. But that is an option for the county to consider. So that's something I think would be good to include in there. Ultimately, sorry, go ahead.
I was just wondering if that's for that specific project or for any economic development project.
You would.
Would it have to be tied to that particular?
No way. So you would approve it and work that out with the developer or the taxpayer at the time they're going through the process of the tax abatement. The statute says very clearly that the taxpayer has to consent to that. Now, ultimately, what you could say is, well, you're not getting your tax abatement if you don't consent to it, right? But at the end of the day, what that's intended to do is to support further economic development initiatives, long-range planning and infrastructure investment, pad-ready sites, and could be a way that could help offset some of those costs from the county. And so you would want to set that up each time you're considering a tax abatement. something that is authorized under the statute. Not a lot of communities are using it. I know Jeffersonville uses it. I've been in conversation with one of their counselors. That's been a program that's worked well for them. So just something to consider. Again, not asking for action tonight. Really would just like you to have some time to take a look at this. And then we'll come back next month and be ready for more questions. But does anybody have any questions on what I presented so far, either about the policy or about any of the updates that I provided?
Is it by statute how the makeup of this board is? I know
No.
that this is your recommendation because of what other communities do, but I didn't know if there's a statute of a certain
There
amount
is
of
not a
members.
statute, no.
So is the auditor not involved in that committee?
Could be.
I mean, the auditor does take care of collecting the abatements
Yep.
and filing all the abatements, so I think that it would be good for us to just be able to know how it is.
So does this set standards that we want to impose upon anybody that comes here? I'm concerned that somebody comes in here and that they're going to offer jobs and the tongue lolls out and we essentially give them the farm. You know what I'm saying? Is that the purpose of this document, to set goals and limitations so that we don't fall prey to someone who's going to come in here, take the tax abatement and be gone in 5 years?
Yeah, it's a great question. And yes, that's exactly what this is intended to do. It's intended to set guardrails so that you know what you're getting. And in fact, one of the provisions in this policy is that the developer or the taxpayer has to enter into an agreement with the county that spells out exactly what their investment's going to be. Yes, they have to provide that on the SB1 and SB1PP forms that are state forms, but the agreement between the county and the taxpayer provide that additional layer of protection. And then it also spells out in that agreement, which I've already drafted a copy of the agreement on the application process, but what that agreement does is it provides those guardrails, it provides that protection so that you know exactly what you're getting. And then it provides the teeth that you need. If X developer comes in and says, we're going to build $15 million worth of real property investment and $40 million worth of personal property investment, and then 3 years later, they only build $1 million of real property and $3 million of personal property, well, you're not getting what you thought you were getting. They didn't deliver what they said they were going to deliver. And so then it has clawback provisions in there that allows you to say, okay, hey, we're going to have to retake this, or if they eliminate the equipment altogether.
Does it allow for any flexibility
It does.
in a negotiating so that we have say an industry that comes in here that might be ugly, dirty, or somehow publicly accepted, that we would not offer the same cookie cutter situation to everyone?
Correct.
Recognizing the additional costs that an industry such as that could impose upon the county?
Yeah, so actually back in section 7B, and I apologize, there's not page numbers on there, so it's the actual fourth sheet of paper. 7B says, the council may utilize a scoring system as a guide in determining the appropriate length of a property tax abatement. The council may deviate from these guidelines and grant more or less tax abatement for longer or shorter periods, but not to exceed 10 years on a case-by-case basis. So each request that comes before you, you consider on its own merits and its own impacts to the community. So it doesn't tie your hands to say, if you make this level of investment, hire this many people, retain this many people, you get this amount of abatement. There are communities that choose to do that. I don't think that's the smart way to do it, because then it does tie your hands. And if you get a developer or an industry in here that you don't really want, that is releasing toxins or, going to be a major polluter, it would not provide you the flexibility to be able to make those decisions. It would tie your hands without coming back to the policy and having to update it. And then by then, it's out in the public and it's created a stir that you really don't want. So
We had a situation a few years ago, probably over a decade ago, where
an incinerator company wanted to come in and it was not well received by the public and just don't want, again.
Just creates a PR nightmare, and you don't want that. So it provides guardrails without handcuffing you to a set standard. That makes sense.
It covers a lot of things I didn't think of, some of these things.
Yeah, sorry. It's heavy.
Okay. It's all right.
It's heavy.
I mean, I'll welcome any of these questions.
So you do have a scoring system.
I have a scoring system template if we wanted to implement a scoring system. And I did not print the application because it will change depending on what happens with the policy. But essentially what the application provides is very specific. Oh yeah, we got a copy of it there. Very specific details about the business, its industry, what kind of jobs they're going to retain, what jobs they're going to create, how it may qualify for other incentives through the state. Those are all factors that need to be considered when scoring a project. And so the committee may say, well, we want to give more weight to an industry that retains jobs than is hiring new employees, or we may want to give more weight to somebody who's making more of a real property investment than a private property or a personal property investment. So the scoring system, again, would also be kind of guardrails, if you will, without tying your hands. Great question.
Okay.
So we'll come back next month, after you have a chance to review it. Feel free to call me if you have any questions that come up, email me, whatever. But I'll be back next month and we can have further conversation. And if you're so inclined, then it would be appropriate to adopt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Jonathan? Sorry.
Oh, one last thing. I'm not going to go through it because it was long too. I sent a report on some current legislative activity that is going on in the State House, especially regarding lit and property taxes. We'll continue to provide those updates as we move forward through the session.
Nothing's been decided though as of yet, right?
I mean, nothing's passed both houses yet. We're actually almost to the halfway point where both bills on both sides will switch. But yeah, there's a lot and it's moving quickly. So.
It's a moving target.
Moving quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, Sheriff Falkenberg.
Good evening all.
Hi.
Just want to give information about the department, and that is that I had another resignation a while back, and we're working on that. And we looked at, and we have kept it open for applicants for the jail positions as well as the deputy's position. I've actually got some that have come in and got a few phone calls from other people. So we will go through that process of possibly screening those in the near future and present those to the mayor board.
Do you know how many jailers your position you currently have open right now?
One for sure, and we have no part-time people left, I think, that we're working on. So one full-time position, but I'd like to get some part-time people.
Is it listed on there as part-time? Do you have?
I think it's got a check mark
Okay.
off, and it says both on there for
Okay.
both, I think.
Yep, all right.
Okay, any questions for you all?
We'll get those on social media and see if we can at least get people to, see it
Right.
in another way besides our website, so. Are those on Indeed? as well?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm. Yeah, I
okay,
think we've got some.
that should help. Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Ms. Robertson. Health Department and
Hi, I'm Amanda Hinton. Just wanted to take a second to introduce myself as the new public health nurse supervisor. Wanted to accompany Kim to learn and experience this in my new role. I'm really excited and grateful for this opportunity and look forward to working with you all.
thank you, nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Hi, guys.
So I am just requesting a carryover for the appropriations from the 25 budget that was already approved. It's just monies that I didn't get to spend. And if I talked to Michelle Matern at State, she's our Southern Regional Director, and she said I would have to get an okay from you guys, but that's a common thing to do, is just to roll it over, if you will.
Is the rollover gonna be calendar year through December 31st? Because I know that the sometimes run on a physical, or,
I can ask her
yeah,
to
we
be
just need to know
sure.
when that appropriation rollover
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, let me make note of that.
So when we enter it in the system, it's proper.
Right.
So just a train, I mean,
So basically, it's kind of like an encumbrance of the HFI.
is it okay we didn't get an amendment? What's happening?
Yes,
is.
it's okay,
Okay.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
they
And
run
you
on
have
a
things
different
you're gonna
reporting.
use.
Yeah, it's already budgeted in,
It's not
areas.
considered an encumbrance because we don't have actual
Invoice,
purchases to pay for it. But with the HFI grant, I did look into that and she had sent me some information, but I just sitting here thinking, I do apologize. I didn't need to ask you that right off the cuff.
That's okay.
I didn't do it. I
That's
do
okay. That
apologize
was
for
something
that.
I don't know.
But I just sat here and thought about, because, when we enter it, we'll just need to know for sure
Yeah,
how long the
How long
appropriation
we
goes.
have.
Yeah.
but she said it is a non-reverting fund. So, they don't want it back. They want us to spend it how we intended to spend it. It's just that I didn't have time.
How many dollars you
No help.
talking about?
Well, there is a few lines that have quite a bit, because I did have budgeted for an assistant last year, and he quit. And then it took a full year to train him. So I knew at that point that we wouldn't have enough funding to get another person for the next year. So I did not find it appropriate to spend a year training somebody that we were not going to be able to keep. So I do have that $36,000 for that position. We do have an idea of some possibilities for that, which I can bring back later for you guys. But right now, like I said, it's just more of, getting the okay just to transfer it to the same line items just for the next year.
No, no, for the cash, just having the remaining appropriations that were allowed in the 25 HFI budget.
As long as it doesn't mess up your grant, I'm okay with it.
Right, and it's not a grant, it's a fund.
Or your, well,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Thank
so
you
there's,
so
it's a
much.
little bit different
Health First
than,
Indiana, yeah.
yeah.
And they do so much reporting and tracking on that. It's- yeah, we definitely.
Yeah, we have certain
Yes.
KPIs that we have to meet, and we have to show that we're meeting those on a quarterly basis.
And if you would want to move them off those line items to something else, you would,
It has to come, well, we'd have to come here
Right,
first. Yeah, like I said, with the assistant money, I will be back.
Yeah.
If you say that, yes, I can do this, then I'll come back and discuss what we can do, or, what would like to be done.
do I have any questions for Ms. Kim? No? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to.
I'll second it.
How do
Approve
you
the
do that?
transfer. I make a motion to approve the transfer of the 25 leftover budget to the 26 same line items for now. Is
Thank you.
I'll
that what you
second
got?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Second by Paul. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, motion passes 6-0. I haven't heard any nays. Okay, next up, Randy Cole, Commissioner President, Highway Structure.
Good evening.
Maybe.
What I'm here tonight about is we're looking as commissioners, how we would restructure the highway department. Before I get into that, I'm gonna do a little background as to how we've got here. I don't know whether any of you have received calls about your roads in certain situations or grass not being mowed, or all kinds of different things. But we went through this process, and we've found that one of the issues is just like we got a storm coming up. It's going to come in, it's going to come over the weekend. That's going to generate a whole lot of time that the highway department will be out taking care of the roads, which develops comp time, which then in turn has to be used up. And all of a sudden, then our employees aren't available to do the work when it's required to do on the roads. One of the things we're going to be asking for is to take some of this salary money that's not been spent on truck drivers and operators in order to pay overtime. And I think Chris is going to put a fund together where we can do that. That way, as they accumulate this here, they're not forced into taking days off. One of the questions always is the pay, what they make out there isn't comparable to other areas, other work. I could take a truck driver job and go do something else. This will help to increase the pay. But what you don't realize in Perry County, and I looked at it here a few days ago, and it's about 735 on our spreadsheet, 735 road segments in the county. About a little less than 400 are hard surface. The remainder of them are gravel. Each one of those roads has different unique challenges. We're a county that's hilly, valleys, water comes out of the side of the hill. We've got a lot of sandstone. There's a lot of things that challenge us on a regular basis on trying to keep these roads in condition. What we have found that we invested in Vitalix about a year or so ago. We did that so we can rate our roads without being subjective. It appears to be like an iPhone, and it rates the roads and tells you the condition of that road. That needs to be implemented so that we don't find ourselves paving a road that's in pretty good shape while others are not being paved. That requires a road maintenance plan, and we need to put that together. With that said, I mean, that's one area that needs to be developed so that we know what we're paving, when we're paving. We need to develop a process with our gravel roads. They don't seem to last as long as what one would assume they would last. We need a ditching plan. We need a mowing plan. I received last summer a photograph of our $225,000 mower with a for sale sign on it because it hadn't moved in several weeks. And again, it was a staffing issue is why it was not being used for those things. And again, that needs to be planned, needs to be put together. What are the notes I'm going to come up here?
Randy, you got a few things wrong there.
Yep. By all means, Steve, if you'd like to come up here and
That Vitalix program we got last year, we can't use that to update the road plans. I called Pat Connor at LTAP and told him, I said, we've got this Vitalix, can we use that to update our road? And he said, no, you cannot. He said, it's a good plan, it's good to have, but it won't update the roads. You can call Pat Connor at LTAP. If you don't believe me, he'll tell you the same thing. And they've got a thing this year, or we have to send guys to classes. We've been to classes in the past to do this, to learn to score the roads, to rate the roads. Now they've got it where they issue certificates, and if we don't have people with those certificates by July, we're not eligible for community crossings again. So there's a
Pat who?
Pat Connor, CONNER.
It's a little strange because when we go to our conferences, like the AIC conference at Fridge Lick, there was a whole segment on that and how county should be using
Yeah, I
that.
know, the salesman said.
Well, I mean, they're promoting it at AIC. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, Pat said it's a great program, but you can't use it to update your roads. You gotta have people that actually
Do
go
you
out.
mean for community crossings or do you
Yeah.
mean, just for that grant?
That's where it really comes to play. It comes to play in two fashions. We need to know what roads need to be paved.
Yeah.
Because it's not 100% community crossings
Yeah,
money.
true.
because we use local dollars also. So we need to know what needs to be paid. But at the same time, they require road ratings to qualify for our community crossings.
And that's
Now,
what that software gives, but you're saying
Yes,
they won't
it
let
gives
you
us
use
That's
it.
what it
raise.
gives, and Pat said it's a great program, but you cannot use it to update your asset management plan, which has to be updated every 2 years. Or it has to be rated, all the roads every 2 years, and every year we update what we pay. But then every 2 years, you have to drive the roads. I was shocked when he told me that, because I thought, well, this is gonna be easy, but he said, no, he said it's a good program, but you can't use it for that. We have to send guys to these classes, they have to have the certificates to show, to send to NDOT before we can apply for community crossing.
And they have to manually drive every road to make a determination.
So
But
it's
still
just,
live
So
class.
what that
it's just a
is-
tool then to be used with our personnel.
Right, right. We haven't communicated as well as we need to about that, because,
Yeah, because that's the first I'd heard that.
yeah,
Because we are using it, a lot of the roads, a few probably still haven't been driven, but,
Aren't we driving the roads when we're using it? So wouldn't that count
Yeah.
as it?
well,
I'm
but
using
what
it.
he's saying is that
I'm
they're
not doing it.
requiring it to be manually. In other words, you go to class, you learn what a chuck hole is, you drive through there and you subjectively decide how many chuck holes is. When I can take my electronic device, put it on there, it'll count them, I can go back and it'll
Show you a
have on
picture.
my computer screen exactly where the chuck holes are, what the locations are, how close they are, and the condition of the road.
and it'll have a rating. It
Yeah,
takes,
it gives you a rating, yeah.
every 13 seconds, I think it is, it takes a picture,
13 feet.
or 13 feet,
It's,
okay?
it's
It
taking
clicks a
another
lot.
picture and then
And
it
it
comes.
puts a rating on each one of those, so you get a good spot road, you're gonna have a 9 or an 8 or a 9, you get on a bad spot, you're gonna have a 3 or 4. On the community crossings, you have to put the rating, an overall rating down, it don't, I can't get on Analytics now, they were supposed to stop 3 weeks
It
ago.
doesn't. It'll give you a road rating for each, all those segments that's in there, and it'll say it. And then if you want to go look at the road, you'll see within potentially like a 4 or a 5, you may see a 3, a 5, a 6, and whatever all along there. But in that certain segment, it will generate a road rating.
Yeah.
Just like our,
But you gotta have a rating for the overall, for the whole length of the road, you gotta have one rating put on that application.
I think you can get a good average when you look at the segments and
Yeah,
you see, you know, usually when it's poor, it's
So will
continues.
Vitalytics identify the roads that we need to rate, or do we need to rate all of the roads
We have to
regardless?
rate all the paved roads.
Regardless.
Drive them and rate them.
Uh-huh.
I was surprised when he told me that, because I thought when we got this that it would do that, but Pat Connor, the Deltap said, no, it won't.
Steve, I even drove over the newly paved ones so that you had an updated list of, you know, what was bad and then what's now newly paved, so it updated the score.
And I've been on the computer,
I am going to look that up. I'm going to bring that up with the state because this seems redundant
Yeah.
to force someone to do that.
Yeah.
Whenever that program does a fantastic
Well, and
job.
when the
I can
state
send you-
agencies are telling counties to buy that,
Yeah.
then it's
I
a
can
little
send
weird.
you the emails from NDOT telling you all of this.
And a multiple group of counties use it.
It's not that I don't believe you, I'm just saying,
Well, I
it's
mean,
weird that they're
Yeah. I know
promoting
this.
it and having counties speak on it and how they utilize it for their plans, so I don't understand.
Yeah.
And whether it's one of those things that you have to be trained and then
Yeah, maybe.
people go through and they look at it, come to, and they look at the software program compared to theirs. I don't know.
I'm just driving
It's
it.
a good
I'm not
question.
scoring
And I
it.
think
So-
I'm gonna look into that because the way it's been represented to us, that generates
Oh, I know.
Pacer
Yeah, that's
ratings
what-
for us for every road we got.
that's what I thought when we got it too, but when I called Pat, I was kind of shocked with
Did you say you're logged out or something? Something's wrong with your login?
him.
Did
Oh,
you say that you
I
can't get
can't
in?
get in Vitalytics, we can't get in out there, and the guy called 3 weeks ago and said he was gonna be in town, he'd stop and get us up there. They changed some of their stuff on their program, so it locked everybody out.
That's not good.
I can still get in. I use the same password. I was in there.
Me and Kimmel and Joe's all tried it, and we can't, none of us. can.
Well, something's going on because I get into it on my same old password. What they have done to it is they started adding signs to it, which is nice.
Yeah,
So now you can go down the road and you can look at as she drives the road,
Yeah.
It's got all the signs on there now too, so you can see condition of them and.
Well, it's almost worth the cost of it to have a sign inventory because NDOT expects you. to
I
have a
didn't do
sign.
that initially, so I don't know.
You didn't do it.
Don't make me go
It
back.
takes-
Right.
Now, as you drive
That's a lot
down,
of road.
as you drive down the road,
Oh.
it's taking not only a picture of your roadway, but it's also taking pictures of the signs. in
Oh.
there. So you can go down there and you can actually, you can actually pick things that you're looking for. If you're looking for potholes, you can look for potholes.
It shows
and tell
those
where every
really well.
pothole is in the road so
Cracks
that you
and
can,
stuff.
and then you can make work orders off of the thing. And it'll tell you, here's, when you get your pothole patching out, here's where they all located at. So you know where they are. And it's nice.
I just drive it and upload the pictures, so.
Right.
So-
Yeah, we can't get access
Okay.
to you. It's supposed to plot on there everywhere you guys have been with it.
It will, yeah.
It does.
I can see that. I can see all the roads.
Because I looked at it before she went out driving it, and I told her where we still lack road services in the county here. That she had some time over a weekend, she was gonna drive some.
And gravel roads, I've been looking on LTAP and Purdue's website. They've done studies in Indiana, all over the United States and all over the world, actually Europe and Germany and all different countries about gravel roads. This is a worldwide thing. It's not Perry County that, I know there's been a lot of complaints about gravel roads. But if you look on there, what we're doing is what everybody in the United States is doing, maintain our gravel roads. It said degrade them when you can, and then put a little bit of rock on them. We got rock too heavy on some of them right now. We've had to go move some rock. But, went through weekends when I heard complaints on the roads and drove the roads, and I thought, well, this road ain't bad. What are they complaining about? There's a select group of people that's complaining. They expect the gravel road to be like a paved road, and that ain't never gonna happen. I'm sorry, they ain't, as long as it's a gravel road and it rains, it's gonna be sloppy on top. That's just the way it is. And if you get on Purdue's website and look, you can see it all on there.
Purdue LTAP.
Purdue,
Yeah,
LTAP's
they've
I
got
watch the
actually-
videos on.
They've got a road school up there.
there's a world of information on there about gravel roads, and it's really interesting.
I drove some of these roads that he's describing yesterday on my way to get some business done up in Celestine. And yes, there's a lot of gravel, and it looks like you'd be subject to fishtailing if you took a curve pretty hard. But I didn't think it was just really, really excessive. And I went to the highway department yesterday after I drove those roads and talked to them. And they explained to me that they had, one of the employees there said they had spent 3 days spreading
Gravel.
the gravel that was laid down, spreading it out to get it in the condition that I saw it, where it still looked like it was a little bit heavy on the gravel. Now, I don't know that Molzers can't.
Well, I mean, if it's a Molzer issue, then it needs to be brought over to Molzer.
Well, a lot of the issue was it was freezing when they were trying to spread, and then they had to open the chains up wider. And we had one spot that was close to 2 foot deep. We went up there that day, worked on it. It's not Molson's fault, it's weather conditions. When it's below freezing, that rock turns into one big rock in the back of your truck, you can't spread it. We can't do it, Moses can't do it.
Yeah, it's just physics.
And see, that brings us back to, we need to be doing our road work when the weather's nicer rather than the wintertime. Because right now, if we got soft roads, they're gonna be soft. You can't hardly put enough rock on them. And one of the key things, and then Steve kind of skipped over, is there's binding agents for gravel roads. And I think that's crucial, and what it is for several different compounds. As you drove along, it was kind of like driving on some marbles, wasn't it?
A little bit in some places.
It would move.
Yes.
We have to try to bind that material and make it solid and keep the water out of the road bed. That's what the binding materials do. Now, some of them are caustic. You gotta watch what you're doing. And we may, be doing chip and sealing over the top of them. Our hills are another challenge with how they
Rock
function
uprights.
and that. So, I mean, there's a lot of little peculiarities to road building. And so it's, and when you read different things, and maybe they're stories, I don't know until we try them, but Steve spends a lot of time sending the guys out, putting more rock on grade and more rock grade and things like this. And it's not like we get any long-term use out of the gravel road without not having to go back out there again and revisit an issue. So if there's a way to make that more of a solid surface, bound together limestone road, then I think that will help as far as.
What, do you have any idea for the expenses per mile of this kind of a binding agent? Because
$60,000.
How much?
$60,000, the cheapest I've been able to find on that.
per,
For a mile?
And that's what, using what?
That's a binder, it's supposed to help keep down the dust and hold.
Is
the
it a chloride?
No.
Yeah.
Chloride draws moisture.
And that's what they use to bind the stone together.
so
Magnesium chloride and the other one, I think calcium
Calcium
chloride,
chloride.
is the two things they do. One of the issues with that is that you can get runoff into the ditches and things like this. And that's why it's a relatively cheap binder, you may have to find yourself putting something on top of it so that the water can't go through it and percolate out into the ditches.
once it's treated, what's the average length of how long that binder lasts? I mean, I'm sure there's variations based on grade and such. Do you have an idea for that? How long that will benefit us?
It would all depend on the weather conditions, I think.
Weather.
I wouldn't touch that
Yeah.
either because I don't know. Because what they do is they take it, grind it, they'll take it, the aggregate, and they'll actually dig the road up and they'll put it in and then they'll reshape it and roll it. And that's what they
That's
do.
just for the 60,000, just for the chemical put in, that's not.
Not the application and the grinding of the road.
I've heard people say we need, I think you said we need to be proactive, not reactive. How do you be proactive when the weather controls everything you do? You know, you have to be reactive.
You have to react when there's an emergency. I get that, but at the same time, not every day should require an emergency. We need to, when we have 735 different segments of the road, we needed a plan on how we're going to, and we may not hit that plan perfect, but we need to say, just by our PASER rating on these roads need to be paved. We need to generate X number of dollars so they get paved, so they don't go from a 5 into a 3 or into a 2, and then we're rebuilding the entire road. So that sets that much, and it tells us then what we have to budget. I've seen several counties, Noble County is the one that comes to mind. They've got a plan that is either 5 or 8 years on how they're gonna maintain all their roads and what it costs them per mile, what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it, and that includes the gravel roads. And so they sat there, and it may not be perfect because as years cycle, you have good years, bad years, it happens. But at least you have an idea as to what your expectations are and the funding required in order to meet it. I mean, we can't do $1 million worth of road work for $100,000.
All I can say is look at Purdue's website. Our roads aren't any different than anybody else's. I'm not here to argue with you, but just look at that.
I have been through Purdue's website and I've taken several of those different classes on there. Another thing that it's just like, and I'll just read this to you. We didn't get community crossings this year. So I reached out to the state and I said, why? And it said your application had a couple of road segment errors, which were not mapped correctly and the estimates did not match the road names. That comes from the state of Indiana. So we applied for $1 million and got nothing.
I have a comment to make about that. I didn't want to say this, but.
It's all right. You can read it too. It's right from her.
I've seen it.
Okay.
I talked to Catherine McCallum. I told her, I said, I'm going to get blamed because we didn't get community crossing. She said, it's not fair for them to blame you for that because 2/3 of the funding was cut. And there's a lot of counties that they can get awarded. And I heard last week from a contractor that the legislature is looking into that again because so many counties have complained about it. I don't know if there's anything to that, but the contractor told me that they're looking into it, trying to get more money, maybe make some more awards. But I've done this 10 years, community crossings. I got everything I asked for 9 years. This year I didn't get it. I think that's a pretty good average, 9 out of 10 years. And I'm sorry, Randy, you picked the roads this year, not me. You had, I've told you before, they're looking for east-west connector road between the state roads because they're north and south. They want to be able to evacuate this county as quickly as they can if we have an emergency evacuation. They're looking for east-west connectors. We didn't have that this year. We had 4 dead-end sections on there. And the main roads we had rated 6s and 7s. That's not what they're looking for.
I'd
I
like
called
to,
about that mistake that was on there. I called and talked to them, and she said, Kathy McCall told me, typically what happens when they select the counties, if there's one mistake, which I explained to these 3 what the mistake was. Their map didn't match my map, and that's not uncommon. So I have to go back and get, yes, it'll show an intersection with a different road than what it does. I mean, it'll show the intersection at the next road back instead of going up where it does intersect. So I had to call and get new estimates and get that changed. And on this application, you can read on there, the detailed scope of work is exactly right. When I went to submit it, I had changed, you have a detailed scope of work on the application. Then you have each road section. When I put that last road section in, it had changed it to the right one, or I changed it to the right one. Sometimes it didn't save. One year I had to call Michael Kaylee's is over that part of it. Kathy McCall told me she didn't know nothing about that part. She don't do that, but she gave me his number. But anyway, I called a previous year. I went in there and put all this in 2 times to get saved and go back to update it some more. Nothing there. So I called him and he done something and it saved it after that. But there's one road name that didn't get saved correctly on this application. But on the detailed scope of work, it is right on the application.
So it just didn't match up and they rejected it.
And she said typically what they do, if there's something like that, they drop that section of road. That would have been 1,300 foot, a road that would have been dropped and the rest would have been awarded. And we would pay for that 1,300 feet out of our lead paving.
I remember one time I was at a Tell City meeting and there was something about they had paved over a short bridge or something in town and they got rejected because that bridge had to be excluded or something. It was, I don't remember all the details, but it was a minor thing that they got completely rejected, but they got to apply again. I think, do we get to apply again? I don't know.
No, it's done. We used to be able to apply for any additional, in other words, if you were rejected on the first round, then you had an opportunity in July to apply. They took that away from us last year, so we won't get a chance to apply till July of 26 now for community crossings.
For next year?
Yes.
This current year we're in.
Well, I mean, for
But it won't
27.
get it, I mean, it will be
Because by the
awarded.
time you get your bids and everything.
Right.
Yeah, it
Okay.
won't happen.
So
She
they
did make
awarded-
mention in there, she said that this is the first time anybody said there's a problem with the software. This is from Kathy, and that if you call in, which Steve apparently did before, that they'll look into it and fix it. Just don't wait till the last day to submit it. So, because we did bring that to her attention, and I went through our state legislature group because I was not really happy with the fact we got 0 on community crossings. And that's what generated this whole question as to why. They said if there's an error, anybody with an error, they tossed it out. Now, if there's something that
No,
was,
that ain't what she told me.
well, that's what's written here. That's what she wrote. Now, the other side of this is I haven't filled out an application and Steve's filled out 9 years. If there's something that's irregular, he should have said this won't work. So what we did and what was different in here, what we put in the application again, and this is going to be a bit of a problem because the Vitalics picked out the roads that needed to be paved. The ones up above Cannleton there, I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but they are lower rated roads. But on what we have on our spreadsheet, they're higher rated. So either you believe the rating on the spreadsheet or you believe the rating on the Vitalics. And that's how those roads were determined to be paved.
Randy, I do have a question. It's my understanding that community crossings can be used to gravel and improve the gravel roads. Is that your understanding as well?
I don't know. Steve?
The first year they had community crossings, you could not apply for any gravel roads. And I guess counties raised hell about it, and within a couple of years, you could apply for gravel roads. I talked to 2 different contractors that had dealt with from other counties that had dealt with people that had counties that had applied for gravel. One of them had a section of road that was paved on each end and gravel in the middle. So they applied for the whole road. They got awarded the one section on the one end that was paved, nothing to the gravel, and nothing to the other end. He told me, he said, your best bet is not to apply for gravel roads. He said, because you have problems getting awarded. I've been told that by 2 different contractors.
Well, I've called up there too, but they said that should be available and it could be applied for. They're not going, they also said they're not going to guarantee anything
Right.
without reviewing applications. So I do want to say though that, and I appreciate what the highway department has done and Mulzers have done, because the last 4 to 6 weeks, the county gravel roads, and I drive a lot of them, and for some reason, since I've been on the council, every question I've been given or approached about has been about the gravel roads. And I've contacted you many times, Steve, and you've seen that it got attention. But frankly, the base of the gravel roads a year ago was non-existent on a lot. It's there today on most of them.
Yeah.
And I think between the highway department and Mulzers, there's been a whole lot of success, because nobody's called me in a month, and I haven't called you either. So, you know, I
That all
think,
depends on what type of winter you
yeah,
have. how
of
much
course,
freezing and thaw.
next week, if all the gravel gets blown off by grader blades,
Yeah, that's what I'm
You'll be
concerned about
called,
right now.
you know,
We're gonna have to plow our gravel off in the ditch.
yeah.
You're gonna have issues as soon as it thaws.
Yeah, well, you're going to, and then with heavy farm equipment, that doesn't help anything either.
So I mean, it's part of the, what we're trying to do, get a plan. And I don't, and simply what, you know, there's a differing thing, and I'm gonna look into the Vitalics, because this seems kind of strange, but I will look into it. But what we were proposing to do, what we wanted to do, was to hire a professional engineer. The state of Indiana will put in $40,000 towards a licensed engineer. With that person on staff, then we would put together a road plan, and a maintenance plan, and look at different opportunities on how we can better manage and keep the maintenance up on these county roads. Professional engineers that are licensed are not cheap. But if we continue to go out and we can't seem to get ahead of the game, that doesn't work either.
Is that $40,000 recurring year to year?
Yes. They will put that much in. And what it does, puts an engineer on your staff then, so if you need any other bridges or any other engineering work, they do it. That's part of their job.
Would that help on applying for grants if you've got someone like that on
Well,
your staff?
My expectation is that the grants, the community crossings and whatever, whomever is sitting in that seat is going to be the responsible individual. And that conversation, if we have errors and things like that, that's going to be on their shoulders. Because I mean, to a county like Marion County, losing out on $1 million isn't nothing. To Perry County, it's a lot. We're a small county with a small budget, small funds. So we just can't do that. Again, we have to get that funding back. So that would be part of that individual's, and also it's just like whether the roads, whether the binding agent, whatever that amounts to, we do it. We get a ditching plan, we get however we're gonna handle that, and that falls upon that professional who, we're gonna make sure he has some, or she has some kind of background in road construction. So we can get back into these things to see if it makes a difference. We think it will. We look at it like, if we continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome, it just doesn't, the wise man once said that's insanity. So we want to try something.
Sounds expensive, Randy.
It is expensive.
Okay, so we're going to be adding an employee that's at a higher rate than just about anybody else.
Except,
Am I jumping the gun here?
your people that get into the courts. What we were going to propose to do, and currently what we have is we have a whole multitude of truck drivers and operators that's already been budgeted. So if we took 2 of those salaries and applied it towards them, that's $86,000. We get $40,000 from the state of Indiana, and we can tap into our bridge money, Cume Bridge, and pay for part of it too. So it won't impact your budget at all. And then what we would do is create, right now we have an operating manager's position. And then that's right below our superintendent. We'd have an operating manager and then 2 foremen. The 2 foremen, one of them is an operating manager, one is a foreman. We were going to raise them up to the higher salary. So those 2 individuals are paid the same, a higher amount. And then we were proposing moving Steve to the operating manager, which then makes him eligible for overtime. That's what we did. And with the salary we were proposing, I looked up Crawford counties. For 24, the actual superintendent and Steve would be paid $11,000 more than this guy made. And he would be paid just slightly more than what Spencer County was paid at what we were proposing for the operator's salary. So we're paying right there with what our 2 adjoining counties are paying for the highway superintendents.
But we've got 2 fewer employees.
Yep.
To do the work.
We got 2 fewer people and 1 engineer is what we're doing. And if the Mulzers group can deliver to the roads, then you should free up some truck driving needs.
How much are we going to have to take out of Cume Bridge? Do we have an idea for that?
We just use round numbers like 25,000. It'll have to be calculated out because we pay our 11.2 out for our pension, and then we have our health insurance.
That's a hunk.
So
Do we currently hire like an engineer when we like replace a bridge or something?
Bernard and Lochner usually does the bridges, right?
No, Dirt Coast builds our bridges. We don't hire an engineer. He comes in and builds the bridges. A 40-foot bridge is typically around $100,000. And I talked to State, my first year superintendent. I asked them, they endowed up there. I said, is it okay if we hire somebody like that to do that? His comment was, I wish, instead of going through the federal system on the bridges, he said, I wish every county would do that because you're going to save a bunch of money doing that. If you go through the federal system, it's a 6-year process. You have to have environmental impact studies and permits and all that, and it takes 6 years to get everything done. He comes in 3 months, we got a bridge, overbuilt bridge for around $100,000 for a 40-foot bridge. So no, we don't hire engineers to do our bridges.
So how do you get a
What's
bridge
the process
certified?
allowed?
Mark Muir comes up, inspection when it's done, and says it,
Suitable for a certain amount of weight?
he usually puts bigger beams in than what we have, what is
So they're
required.
paying them.
And if there's a beam in the middle, he gets that out of there so it ain't catching debris. He's been doing this for 50 years. He's 74 or 5 years old, and he's still building bridges. And
But it's engineers at Lochner.
they
I mean, that's what
It
they're
has to have
doing.
somebody stamp
The
it.
guy
Civil
that
engineers
does our
or
bridge inspections, Lockmuir's, comes up and inspects it once it's done and approves it. And they told me, said you need to get him to build all the bridges you can get him to build before he quits building them.
They see it too, and also those bridges do not have those things.
No, they're open bridges. Gail, to answer your question a while ago, to apply for that community crossings, which I'm sure an engineer would get this, but you have to be ERC to have access to that. Any of the federal money, bridge inspections, any of that, you have to have ERCs. That has to be a employee of the LPA, local participating agency.
They're asking a lot out of you to try to
Well,
come
there
up
was an
with.
engineer come in there earlier this winter, and he was asking questions. They were interested in our bridge inspection. He asked questions. He said, so who does this and who does that? And I said, well, she does that and I do this. Where he came from, they had an engineer, superintendent, assistant superintendent, 2 foremen, and 3 people in the office. He said, that's asking a lot out of 2 people.
It is.
And now they're wanting, me and Randy haven't personally discussed this, but I was told I would get a demotion and a $3 an hour pay cut. I've already had a 5% pay cut. I'm not interested in another $3 an hour pay cut. And I'm dedicated to the people in this county, taking care of these roads. And I'm not gonna let you all run me off. You're gonna have to fire me. That's all I got to say about it.
We're not gonna fire you, Steve.
No.
We'll treat you with respect
Okay.
and don't demote.
Okay, well, we need to, please.
We're looking for an alternative. I mean,
Sorry.
you know, if everyone's comfortable with the condition of the roads, just let it go as it is. But what's gonna happen is, we need to get some other people involved with answering. And part of this problem is, and I don't know, because I watched it happen, Steve has told us the time that he didn't get any calls. We're getting
I get
aren't we,
calls,
Paul?
yeah, and people come up to me and
We're
approach
getting
me about
calls, so
these
there's a
problems.
disconnect here somewhere. And we're also looking at what we can do as far as develop something where people can report an issue. That way we have it officially reported also. And then there won't be a question, did you just call an elected official and never let the highway department know? Or did you call the highway department and they didn't act? I don't know.
When I call Steve, they have reacted, but frankly, I'm definitely in favor of Mulzer's rocking these roads. The ones I've seen that they've rocked heavy, and the base has been there for over a month. And it's standing up to the weather. Now, it probably won't stand up, but the best thing that I've seen in years in Perry County on the gravel roads, and I drove them for years, and the job I had before I retired, and I drive them all the time now. The roads right now are in the best shape they've been in years. And that is mainly because of Mulzer's delivering the gravel and putting it on real heavy, the same as I do on my farm. You've got to rock them heavy or there'll be no base there. And frankly, these things get beat to death, these roads do. And it's farm equipment, it's people that drive 50 miles an hour, it's everything, it's the weather. The highway department is doing a real good job. It's a hard thing to keep up with, but the biggest thing you can do, and that includes the ditching and everything, is to rock them heavy, because water will run through rock.
They have to be sealed off.
And
You
if-
can't let water get
Yeah,
in the basement.
the-
One of the issues we had, I don't remember their names, from a turkey farm that came in and had tore up a truck out on the road.
yeah,
And it's just like, now we have that, the hills and that, they have to pull.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a continuous thing. I'm not sure that we maybe have to do something unique to those hills to try to control that, so that
Yeah.
those people that have actually invested in our county can get their product out into the market when it's time to sell it. So If we can't deliver for them, then they're gonna quit locating in the county. So-
Randy, I think you're on the right track with what you're doing here. I know that Spencer County had an engineer when I lived over there, and I think that was helpful for them in getting their plans in. But, be frank about it, a year ago, the roads were in big trouble. There was no base. I've got a four-wheel drive and tractors. I'll get out, and I've got 3 triaxle tons of gravel on my farm, but not everybody else is that fortunate. But, I've talked to people that were literally in tears, and then I called Steve, and he did go out there and get this taken care of. He got it graded and gravelled, and this has been a number of times with various people. But at least in the district that I represent, I've only had one person ask me to do anything. All the rest, and probably 80 or more, have been about the roads. And I can tell you the taxpayers and the citizens want those roads passable, the gravel roads, they want them gravelled, and they want the potholes filled on the blacktops. And they're pretty insistent and demanding about it. And, I'm feeling the pain, and Steve has sent people out to take care of stuff. But right now, today, on a lot of roads, since Mulzers has rocked them heavy, there's a base where there wasn't. And it's lasting. Now, probably, if we have this hellacious snow and the rock gets blown off, it's going to need to be re-rocked. But the best thing that's ever happened that I've seen in recent years is Mulzers heavily graveling those roads. They gravel them heavy, the trucks are wide, and it's getting the job done, and we need to continue towards that. So, and I want to thank everybody that made an effort, the commissioners, the highway department, and Mulzers for getting the job done to a large extent. So,
Any other question or comment?
I feel calls about that too. I know I've reached out to Steve several times, and so I usually feel bad, but I have to do it when people reach out and say, They need-
I welcome that.
yeah, I know, but sometimes it's, random times. And so they'll have issues or whatever, and so they do voice their concerns to me. And of course, there's some that say that they feel like their road's been neglected for a long time, and then some don't. So I don't know. I would much rather be proactive than reactive, if we can, as much as we can. I know there's certain things that, like you said, the weather, you can't do anything about that. You're not control that. So there's always going to be some type of something going on, but I'm very much in favor of a plan, and like you said, a ditching plan or road plan, mowing plan, all those things. I think it's necessary, and even if it has to be adjusted along the way, we have to have some kind of base or something.
You're gonna have to, it's just like one of the main things is water away from the road. If you haven't got your ditches cleaned out and the water builds up, the next thing you know, your road will get a soft spot across it. Water levels itself out. And if it can't run off on a ditch, then it'll just go out and permeate whatever's in the area. So that's crucial. Fixing the roads to get in the base, getting the thing rolled so it's tight so the water can't get through it again, needs to be done when the weather's not 20 degrees and cold and wet.
But do we need to hire an engineer to get that done? We've got guys that have been in this business, worked for the county for a lot of years, have some experience. I know none of them are real thrilled about plans and things like that from talking to them. Again, I'm trying to, and they're my constituents, so I'm going to speak up for them as much as I can. Again, right now we're short out at the highway department the way we were a few months ago at the sheriff's department. Okay, having an engineer and having 2 less employees isn't going to be 2 less employees. We may have a different, smaller number of employees out there. It has been voiced to me that is a possibility. The folks that have been out there for years feel a little bit maligned. They don't feel like they're they're respected. They're concerned that Steve is not respected enough. We have a responsibility to taxpayers. Yes, exactly. The part we haven't talked about yet tonight is that we have a responsibility to maintain a highway department where there's not a toxic environment. And right now, the environment has gotten toxic, okay? And it centers around personnel. And my concern is that we're reaching for an engineer to solve a problem that we don't necessarily have to hire an engineer for. Again, I know sometimes folks have thought that the highway department wasn't as responsive as they could be, but, and again, back to the part they don't like plans. Can we tone this down without reaching for an engineer, cutting 2 employees, and kind of cut the baby in, take, cut
So,
the,
so my
cut the beef
question
in
is
half,
come
whatever.
right back to you, Brad.
Yeah.
How would you suggest doing that? Okay, right now, we get into the summertime, and because of the way our comp policy works,
Mhm.
even when Steve had more employees, a lot of them were using up their comp hours. Number one, because they have other things they want to do, and number two, they got to use them up. So he doesn't have a crew. And when the weather's nice, that's when you need to build your roads. So resolution to that.
One problem is the crew I got, a lot of them are farmers, and they depend on that time off to be able to plant their crops in the spring and the fall. It works good for farmers. Other people, you have to have a CDL. We got our wages cut, you have to have a CDL. You go somewhere else, make 3 times as much money. I mean.
And if we lose
Now,
these
I'm not
people that we have, we're gonna have a bigger hole. That is my concern. Do I have an answer to it? I
Also,
don't.
too, they cut our comp time, and that's what us farmers use. That's why we're there. We know how to do the jobs at the county highway, like this weekend. We know how to plow the snow. We know how to get it off the road. We're only 10 of us. That's it.
8 operators left.
That's it.
I'm not against the county having an engineer. It'd be nice to have an engineer for some of the stuff, but I'm doing stuff that the superintendent shouldn't have to do. That's, but,
Steve is right there with us plowing snow.
yeah,
And he's right there with
but
us.
I'm not for being demoted and my pay cut again.
So then,
Hey, and I will tell you one thing. All of us are pissed off right now because they took our comp time off because it wasn't on the agenda. They done it when we moved there, and we don't want to go out this weekend. We'll be there Monday. That's how we feel because we've been degraded, period.
Took a pay cut this year.
Exactly.
It wasn't a pay cut, it was a bonus that went
Why is
away.
his check smaller?
Yeah.
Because your bonus did not move forward for 2026. It's not it's not a salary cut. It is a bonus that was communicated last year that did not move forward for
But the
26.
3 commissioners they got, they don't give a shit about the highway department.
Okay, we're not gonna do this, okay? You've been good. I mean, we've had a good conversation here, so let's just not do that,
We're
okay?
all upset.
Okay.
Because they took that away and we got a commissioner that was in a meeting with Steve and said, she doesn't want us at these meetings and the commissioners meeting. I'm a taxpayer. I pay.
Were you there?
Yes.
You were in that meeting where this person said this?
No,
Okay,
that was
okay.
the Steve meeting.
We're not-
with Steve.
We're not gonna do hearsay. We're not gonna,
No, it's not
Okay.
hearsay.
it is hearsay if you weren't there,
I
so,
was there and she did say.
okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, so I can't say one way or the other, but
That's what she said.
And us guys,
it's
we're dedicated to Steve. But Steve tells us he wants to come in.
to the highway department, I mean, to your positions or to a
To us.
person? I mean, what did you say? I'm sorry.
I said, we're dedicated to Steve. He tells us come in this weekend, we'll be there. But we're pissed off. Pissed off employee, how much work you gonna get on a pissed off employee? Not a whole lot. I'm telling you, all of them.
We're down to eight operators and we're going to maybe have one of the biggest snows we've had in years. And, that really concerns me. But we need to, it's our family and friends driving them roads. We need to take care of them roads.
Did you hire a truck driver? Did you tell me recently that you did, or?
No, he didn't take the job. He found out about the pay being less and he's busy
The pay was less than what? Than,
last year.
but when he applied last year? Okay, that's what I was wondering.
On the bright side, I did get an application today if somebody lives in this area with a CDL, so I'm gonna be calling them. We get a lot of applications, but not with CDLs.
That's good. They'll be ready to go.
I'm just concerned that we're digging a hole with our employees, and we need to stop digging. And I agree that
Well, then the
Your-
question
your
becomes-
idea is-
The question becomes, Brad, then we must be satisfied with the status quo, right? Because that's what we're getting. I think Mr. Taylor out there made the comment about the comp time. They don't want no overtime, they want comp time.
yes,
So recognize the fact that when the time comes, you won't have any employees because they've got other things they want to do.
You mean
with the
good
comp.
weather, like
Yes.
the summer?
Right. Most comp time they don't use.
Is that when you're doing your
Correct.
farming?
Yeah.
Usually
When the sun
They
shines.
have
spring,
to, yeah. When the sun shines, they have to get into the fields.
But we've always got our work done. It may be a little later, but it's always got done.
Well, we've never been to the point of being this low
Right.
employed before, that's killing us.
So the question becomes, do we start looking at contractors or, to provide some of these services? Do we have to look at wage increases to get people in here? Are we gonna have to continue the comp time because the only people that'll work for the county are those that have other interests and they'll only come in when they choose? I mean, this is the question, because how are we gonna deal with the road situation? If Steve can't hire people and it keeps getting lower and lower, then what's the solution?
I
Can the
think,
county
I'm
not work with like Workforce One or the high schools and identify students that we can send to get their CDL training for a contracted amount of time?
I mean, we
Instead of
can. I think at one
searching for
time,
people
didn't you
that
send
don't
somebody
exist.
off? I think we went through this process where if we get them through school and trained, they have to work for us for so much period of time, or they have to get some money back, for all the schooling. Because if you want to be the over-road trucker, it's going to pay you more than what you get made in the county, of course. I mean, so, but again, it's not the convenience of going home every night. You're on the road. So everybody has different,
but to your question, at this point in time, and listening to Paul, and again, I have a concern for the taxpayer, but it sounds like the roads right now are in a pretty good position. And the highway department has been responsive, is what I'm hearing, all right? So you ask, what are we going to do? Right now, we don't have an emergency. We've got a fiscal constraint associated with monies that we're not getting that we used to get. Again, is now the time to hire an engineer? I think in the long run, yes, I think your plan is good. I think that could augment the folks that we have at the highway department. I'm just not sure that right now, given the fiscal constraints that we have and the competition for scarce resources, and actually the environment out at the highway department, because of everybody's communication has been, can I say poor?
Very cool.
Okay, with us, but both directions, I believe. Yeah, I can't honestly say that for every situation. But again, we've got a situation that seems to have, the ship seems to have righted right now. Do we want to do this right now with the added expense and what the effect it's going to have on our employees out there at the highway department?
okay, then my question to you is, if not now, when? What triggers it? What triggers the hiring of an engineer and setting it up? And then my question comes back.
2028, whenever we
Do
get
let-
more
okay, so-
money, but not right now. We are
Okay.
going to be struggling to keep up with
And
what
that-
we're already promising.
And that's why we were going to utilize some of the salaries that are not getting filled. Right now, he's missing a whole bunch of employees. He's not getting anybody applying. He got one today, but there's something that people aren't applying. So that's another issue we need to look at. The question is why?
Wages.
And-
Wages.
And national
Okay.
trucker
Wages
shortage.
and losing benefits. They've taken
Wages and benefits. What benefits have been lost?
all time.
Comp time, okay. They want comp time rather than overtime.
Exactly.
But that's a unique individual that has a second job they want to participate in.
Because we don't make enough money with the highway department.
But if we pay them more money, then will they not need that second job?
It's not gonna be enough.
It'll never be enough money. We just heard that. So it has to be compounded. Do you understand how small you're putting this as far as your requirement on your people? You can keep the salaries where you are, but you gotta get the comp time, and you're gonna have to find that unique individual that wants that. So that's probably why he's not getting a lot of applicants.
That's why I think we should focus on getting people through school ourselves, personally. Pay
That's
for
good-
it,
that's gonna
contract
take-
them in,
that
it's
takes
likely
time.
gonna get people that don't yet have families, and all that.
That will take time to develop a program.
Of course.
It's no different than the EMS.
Right.
If you're trying to,
Two people that said they were gonna work on getting their CDLs, 2 more employees than hospital employees.
That don't have them, but they're current employees now.
Yeah, they were interested, but they don't have them, they were gonna try to get them.
How long does that process take to get one? Like if you don't have, I don't have a CDL, if I wanted to get one.
Kentucky, it takes, what, 1 day, Steve?
You do online and you can go down there for 1 day, and it's, I think it's $1,500.
that's just a test, right?
Yeah, the state police put it on down there, and you do everything online, you drive down Madisonville, I think it is, 1 day, and you get your CDL, it's a Kentucky CDL, and they transfer it to Indiana. And then, it's just one trip down there, $1,500, is what I was
But
told.
several weeks of coursework or something that you have to
2
do
or 3
online.
weeks
But that's
of
online.
online.
But now if you go to Indiana, it's like,
Yeah,
it's 3 to 4 weeks or
Okay.
something.
$3,000-4,000.
And who provides the truck? Yes.
Is that right?
They-
It's double the
Kentucky
cost.
does.
It's double the cost in Indiana.
Yeah,
It's double the cost in Indiana, am I correct?
Pardon?
It's double the cost in Indiana to do
It's
this.
at least $3,000.
So if they would.
We had one guy that did that, and that's how I know about it.
What, I remember,
I've got the phone number.
we noticed the difference in the Indiana price and the Kentucky price.
Comment. Is there any way, these guys get hired out, the state highway garage for maintenance, and they've got a system where they go to Ben Sims to get their CDL?
Yeah,
Is there any way that?
The state has their own trainers.
Is there any way that the county can?
They won't, I've asked about that. They will not train county workers. We can, if we had somebody that would do it, we'll go to school and learn to be a trainer, then we can get our own, but we haven't had anybody. The only guy we had was
Might be
interested
worth
with.
Well, if you can get it in a short period of time, there's no reason.
No, I mean a trainer. Well, I guess that's true.
I think Ivy Tech did that for a while.
They did.
Somewhere.
They bring the truck in on the weekends. I live right there, so you know.
Did they? Did they?
Oh, up here? They still do?
I haven't seen them for a couple months, but I mean, that's
I
what
don't
I
think they do it anymore.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Randy, I like your idea of getting an engineer, but frankly, the best thing that's happened and the biggest cure for the gravel roads has been when you guys got Mulzers to haul that rock. And you had one of the meetings you had,
Fred, please share what you were told. I'm gonna bring it out here about Mulzers and their rock delivery by the workers out at the highway department. Because Paul, you're under the assumption Mulzers is doing a fantastic job. Brad told me they don't agree with that.
Hey,
So
Brad,
please tell us.
do you have the pictures on your phone that Corey sent you yesterday?
No, no, I don't think so. To answer his question, bear with me. What I was told was that out on the roads that I traveled yesterday, October, and what were the names of the roads you recommended? Cloverdale, October, and Chaplin, okay? The gravel that was laid down on a base, and it was, when I drove it, it was a little bit heavy, okay? But nothing that I expected from what I had been told, okay? It was heavy, but whenever I came back down, talked to people at the highway department, they'd said they spent 3 days on taking that road that was very, very thick and spreading it forward and backward to essentially make it more passable.
Okay, so Steve, how many ton
I mean,
was out there on that road they had to regrade?
I don't know. I've got
Yes.
record to work, probably
Two,
I
three-
think they're putting 450 ton a mile on some of them.
But I mean, was it a mile's worth of road then?
No,
So my question is, how many triaxles were involved? And what they laid down took 3 days to correct? That's my question. I mean, is it one, is it 5, 10?
one of the problems with this discussion about Mulder's hauling it, it's a little bit cheaper to haul it in some of the northern, to get it delivered to the roads in the northern part of the county, and the southern part it's not. But Mulder's, you got all kinds of different drivers. Some of them are really good at spreading rock, and some of them are used to dumping in a stockpile. And overall, you know, if the rock's freezing, there ain't much they can do about that. I mean, they have to get, if they get out there and it's frozen, they have to open that tailgate up and then it's gonna come out.
It will clump when it's frozen, but I haven't really seen them haul any rock when it was frozen, but I can tell you all the roads that I've been on that Mulder's did was well spread, and the only place that it was too thick was where you open the gate, and that's a pretty common thing. But the thing of it is, why not let Mosers haul the rock and then the highway department do the grading? Yeah, I mean,
I don't have a problem with them hauling for.
you know, because I can tell you, there's now a rock base where there was none. There's a rock base now.
And see, one of our problems, and you just hit it again, is the rock is freezing.
Yeah.
Just think if the weather was better, the rock wouldn't
It wouldn't
freeze, the
freeze.
clumps wouldn't come out.
Right. If it was spread the summer would be better, yes.
Used to, you could get dry rock.
That's what's a big
No, I've had to bust stuff up with a sledgehammer myself. I know what you're talking about, you know.
But it ain't, I mean, it's not Mulder, I don't think it's Mulder.
No, it's not Mulder, that's the start. It's when it rains, it'll freeze.
Every driver is a little different. The more they do it, the better they'll get at the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Chubisky's.
We had to have a foreman go up on a day off to take care of that.
I've seen
How many,
stuff like that.
does that happen every time, or that was just
Not
one
every
time?
time. It depends.
Was that when it was clumped?
That was when it
I-
was freezing.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
But
yeah.
Mulder's called
so
me
maybe it just kind of,
and said they had it pretty thick. They said they didn't think we'd have to do anything with it, but it was, he was just telling me what the driver said.
okay, so that probably sounds like a conversation just needs to be had with them about,
Yeah.
you know, all those things that you're talking about that I don't know about.
Yeah.
So, but I think it does need to be communicated with whoever's hauling, whether it's Mulchers or whoever, that if there's an issue, then, so you don't have to go back out and do that again.
I told the president they could, but we got one person that keeps calling, wanting me to have rock ordered when it's below freezing. We can't haul it, she wants to have Mulder's haul it. Or, yeah, Mulder, she, called somebody at Mulder's and said, and asked them if they could haul rock when it's freezing. They said, no, we can't, it's freezing on the truck, we can't spread it, the highway department can't spread it, we can't spread it. We got a person that doesn't understand gravel roads, in my opinion.
Well, I'm not an expert for sure.
Well,
I mean,
he
I,
wants a gravel road to be like a paved road, that ain't never gonna happen. That's just my opinion, sorry to say that.
And Steve,
well, I
if,
don't know about that.
if we table this discussion or it doesn't go through, okay, would you be more willing to help with a general flexible plan that meets the criteria that he's trying to get with an engineer?
I tried to work with every department and everybody. I feel like I have been over backwards to work with this one person, and it's, I don't think it's ever gonna happen, but yes, we need to talk more. This is the first time me and Randy's talked. You know, I wasn't aware of what was gonna happen except what one person told me. And, yeah, we need to work together for the betterment of this county, not.
Yeah, the end game is all the same. We want to get our roads in condition for the public that travels them. I mean, that's all we're after.
And we gotta have a workforce that's,
Right, and we have to,
We're going about the wrong way.
if Paul gets a call, I mean, if we can get our roads, just this big vision, maybe it's never gonna be possible, but if we could get our roads in condition going into the winter, where they're gravel shaped, graded, in good shape, I don't believe we get nearly as many calls through the winter. But we have to get them, and what we're getting into is the lack of ability, and part of it's his employees. He doesn't have enough employees. But at some point here, we can't sit back here and keep going, well, we're gonna wait till we get some employees, we're gonna wait till we get more employees, we're gonna wait. We're either gonna have to hire a contractor, we're gonna have to do something, or people are just driving them up.
So the conception or misconception that I'm hearing is that because we give comp time and folks are out during harvest, that we get behind and we don't get caught up by winter. Is that a reality?
In my opinion, it is not reality, no.
Is it due to the comp time issue or if it is occurring, okay, is it due to the comp time issue or Mother Nature that none of us can predict?
Okay, if you're gonna do something construction-wise, it always is less expensive to do it in good weather. I don't care what you're building, what you're doing.
Yeah.
When it's snowing, it's raining, nothing dries, you can do it. It's just more costly. It's just like taking the rock to the roads. Now, you're gonna pump more rock into that road than what you would have put in there had it been dry. It's just a fact of life. Now, if you can't do that, you have to do it in the wintertime, it just costs you more money, more rock. You'll go out there and you're gonna be surprised. We're gonna have,
It'll suck right into the road bed, is
Yep.
what you're saying, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
is what happens with it. So it's like anything in construction, you've gotta do it when the weather's right. And that then becomes the challenge because a lot of his employees obviously have other things that they do using their comp time in the good weather. They can't.
But that is also what makes employment with the county attractive to those individuals. Now, I don't know how many of those there are, what percentage of the employees rely on comp time to do their farming or other things. But again, I'm not hearing that the comp time issue is responsible for more than Mother Nature and not being able to get on the roads when it would
You're
be
gonna have to think
optimal.
about this here. If it starts to rain and then you're a farmer, you can't do anything in the rain. I mean, you may be able to fix your tractor or grease it, change the oil or do something like
Right.
this here. They need good weather also. That's part of it. So at the same time that the county needs good weather in order to work on their roads, their ditches,
Farmers
mow and
need
all
good
these
time to
things,
get out in
it's
their
the
fields.
same good weather.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna be, and right now they work 4/10s. So that means there's 3 days off, they work 4. If we get a rain day or 2 in there, we're down to 2 days. And so, I mean,
When it rains, we're cleaning out culverts so the water gets wet. Everybody assumes on rainy days we don't do anything. That's somewhere been this time. We've got 500 miles of road with culverts on, and the leaves falling and falling, they're all plugged up, and, you know, every rainy day, almost all the crew is out cleaning out culverts, so the water will rain, get through them and get away from the road. I mean, rainy days ain't lost time. It's important to get those culverts cleaned out.
And we're out in the rain, getting wet, doing it.
I've got an employee right now that doesn't farm. He said if we go to 5 days a week, he's done. He's got another job he works every Friday. And he said, I have to have that job to get by. And, you know, and he's an employee I don't want to lose any of them. I think we've got to help a crew out there.
Randy, you, at a meeting about a month ago, there were contractors that put in bids. If we can't get the help, and I wrote down those bids, all those were good contractors, and most of the bids were in line with what I personally pay similar contractors. And I think if we can't get the help or get this done to satisfy the taxpayers and the public and the necessity for passable roads, we need to look at that if we can't get the help. And and those are all, some of those people can build roads themselves and in fact do. But I'm all in favor of the highway department, and Steve, I think they're doing a great job. But frankly, in the last 4 years, the base has pretty much been shot on a lot of the roads. And just now, it's getting back up to snuff since Mosers has hauled.
see what you get into again. So we take a segment, we take a mile, we take 2 miles, and we get a contractor. We're gonna say, okay, it's your job to rebuild it. Where's our specs gonna come from? What is our expectation for that
I
contractor to
agree with
deliver?
you, yeah.
What's the testing mechanism? When do we prove that the contractor, when we do asphalt, we can go out here and check the depth on the asphalt, the quality of the asphalt, we can do all these things. But when we get into a road, and we have a set of standards, generally what we use is Indiana standards on asphalt. But with roads like that, then we're gonna have to draw something up so that the contractor knows what's gonna be expected of them. And then we need to enforce that so that the county is actually getting what they're buying.
And that's where an
And
engineer.
that's where an
would come-
engineer steps
comes
in and
into
says,
play.
here's my set of, and go do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean-
and now, we can contract it out.
I mean-
Then again, that becomes another issue as to how much does that cost us
Yeah.
to do that?
I agree with you, but this has gotten so desperate that people are in fact desperate, and they've asked me to call because they're afraid to or don't want to. Some people will suffer rather than ask for
I know.
help. But I'll be frank about Steve. Steve has gone out. He's seen that this stuff got done, but if you don't have the manpower and you don't have the big equipment like Moser's does, you can't get the job done. And frankly, the job is getting done right now. So, I think that had to be to have Moser's haul that rock, or there'd be no base. And, still be
Ken,
no base.
Paul, do you think we can live with this status quo with Moser's helping out for a couple years until we can
Well-
get a relief valve on the revenues that this county needs?
All I can say is, we had an emergency room situation with these roads where frankly, last winter, they were not really passable in a lot of places. And in fact, recently I've driven roads and one was off of a county email. And this was Clifton Road. And I got a hold of Steve and he got it graded and then it got rocked and the guy called me up and expressed their relief. But, these people, and I have people walk up to me. If I'm in an event, I'll get 4 or 5 that I write down and I get a hold of Steve and it'll get done. But, the basic rocking of the base of the roads was not getting done. And since the highway department and Moser's have come in and the commissioners have pushed this, it's getting done. But I really think Randy's on the right track because we can't have this continue because it's not fair to the taxpayers.
I agree that Randy's on the right track. I think we need an engineer. It is the timing and it is the environment out at the highway department where we need to keep as many people as we possibly can
Well, I agree
to do
with
the
you.
job. Because Moser's can't do everything these
Well,
guys are doing.
I agree with you, but if you can't get help, then you get contractors. And frankly, I think there was 9 of them came forward. I know who every one of them was. I can't do what they do. I can't do what the highway department does. I'm not that skillful. I can do some rough work, but not what they do. But frankly, those were all good people and the rates that they quoted were all competitive. And if we can't get the manpower and get the highway department enough people to get it done, then the contractors can do it.
The problem we're gonna get into,
If we delay.
okay, let's just say this here, though, so we're gonna stay the status quo as we are. Then we need to announce, he who screams the loudest and the most often gets their rock. Now, who's gonna field that and manage that? Because what you're actually doing is, if I go down and complain enough, whether my road needs it or it doesn't need it, there'll be a reaction and I'll get rocked. And that is, completely backwards in my mind. We should be setting something up so that we look at these roads and we determine this road is going to require X, Y, and Z to it. And get that road.
Does the most hauling, by the way.
Does it do what?
That's one of your homes that does most of the hauling, by the way. One of your-
Well, we do field complaints though,
Yes.
in all fairness. I mean, it's because people are calling and reaching out.
I'll check on it, we check it, and we try to take care of it.
Is that how you prefer to carry out your job, is to do whoever calls you up and complains? So.
To go look at,
So-
if it needs something done.
I mean, Steve, it would be so much easier to manage if, you know, occasionally you're gonna have things that occur, but if you could get the roads in condition where those calls are not required to even be made. I mean, that's where I'd like to, I don't like to think that everybody in the county that lives on a county road that's gravel is gonna be required to continually harass someone in government or you or whatever to come out to the road. I mean, how do we get past that point where we're actually, and if we say, hey, you moved out here, it's gonna be mud, it's always gonna be mud, then we need to be honest with them and tell them it's mud. But don't try to, I mean, somewhere where we can manage this so it's not constantly we have to react to the next guy that complained or the next person. That's all where I wanna get. I just wanna get so that people,
That would be wonderful.
so how are we gonna do it?
Read that website for Purdue and you can see that everybody's looking for the same goal. Nobody's been able to figure that out yet. Our roads are like everybody else's, gravel roads.
I've heard people in Spencer County said Perry County roads are a lot better than Spencer County. My fault.
Do you have any kind of, and I don't know, I'm just asking, do you have any kind of thing where, you know how you said you have certain people living in different areas and then that way they get called out if there's a tree or something like that? Do you have, are those people like driving that area in, that they live in to check on their roads to see if there's issues, you know, routinely so that maybe that would be more helpful instead of the residents calling and saying, hey, there's problems out here. If we had employees checking those routinely, then we could stay ahead of it maybe a little better.
On rainy days, when we're cleaning pipes, everybody tries to go a different direction. I'm gonna get this area and you get that area, and if there's something bad, then they report it, you know,
But only if it rains. I mean, I'm just curious. Is that, that's not like a regular routine thing that's happening?
See if he's got his group out driving around, what are you getting accomplished? You're getting identified,
Yeah.
but now he's got limited hours again and a limited workforce. It's not an easy solution. I mean, we have,
I agree that we need to be as proactive as possible instead of reactive, because that's, I agree that's a bad situation, because it does feel like you got to me, so I'm gonna call you next time, you're gonna get to me right away, and, you know, then there's that expectation, but I wanna get to a point where the majority don't even have to call, it's just being done. You know, there's gonna be issues, I think, always, I mean,
you know,
that's unrealistic if you think, you know, it's not, but.
I mean, it happens on your state highway.
At the garage, we haven't got that many complaints this winter. I know there's been a lot of complaints from certain people, but we haven't got complaints. I went out 3 weekends on my day off and drove roads that I had sent a list that were terrible, unacceptable. I went out there and drove them. I thought, hell, this road's in pretty good shape for gravel roads in wintertime. You know, if you've got 2 bare tracks where the rock is back down and rock in the middle and rock on the sides and not full of potholes, that's as good as the gravel road's gonna be in the wintertime. You know, if it rains, we're gonna be slushy. That limestone dust turns to slime and it gets on your vehicles. That's a gravel road.
I've been out there 12 years, and last winter was the worst winter by far since I've been out there. I mean, the roads just went totally to shit, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Freezing and thawing is your business.
I've been out there almost 48 years, going on 48 years, and it was the second worst one I've seen since I've been there. And then, you know, and then we catch all this complaints over it. I mean, if you have a bad winter.
Did you say 48?
48 years, and I consider the offer a slap in the face, by the way.
I'm just wondering how old, when did you first work out there?
When I was 18 years old, 1975.
Okay, I was thinking. So you worked through that whole entire period of time?
No, I've been there 3 different times.
Okay, because I was thinking you drywalled at one time.
I got drywalled, and I went to New Jersey and worked one summer.
Don't tell anybody there's a shortage, though. I wouldn't say that.
I think he's probably hung his tools up.
My gut is it looks to me like issues were identified throughout 2025, the whole year of 25. As they were issued, they were dealt with. Things identified with the Vitalics or whatever it's called, contract with Molzers, and all these things you're getting all the pieces in the right place. And financially, I don't think this is the time.
And I think we can move towards your goals.
Maybe even a budget.
Hiring an engineer in the future, right? Possibly, if we have the financing. I'm speaking over, I'm sorry.
No, you guys need to tell us then when that seems appropriate. Because putting together a professional road plan, I think is critical if we ever want to have a quality road system. Now, once the plan's put together, I don't know if we'll be able to afford it. But at some point, you're gonna have to develop a plan and not guess at it.
And you're probably right on not being able to afford it, but I don't think you'll be able to do it if you're taking away employees to pay for one.
Well, it all
Taking
depends.
taking away 2 workers for one brain, basically.
And then the question becomes, if leaving all of those slots unfilled because he can't secure employees, how is that gonna resolve the issue? We're lacking employees. We may have to go contractor, Mulzers or something in order to supplement the smaller staff.
Still without a plan.
Yeah, and then you're still this road, that road, this road, this road. And some way there needs to be a standard, like Steve says, he drives down the road and it looks fine to him. There should be a standard for a county road. And if whatever he determines how that's put together, the engineer, everybody's good with that, then that's our county road standard for our gravel road. If it meets it, we're not coming out there and rocking it just because you want fresh rock on top. But we have no standard. Nothing. It's just whoever hollers the loudest gets the rock. We've never, I mean, and that comes back to a road plan.
But I feel like he's mentioned that he was willing to come up with one, create one, work with you to create one. I don't know, paired with that road software, it seems like it would be easier to get a starting point
It's gravel to
on
pavement.
one.
It's
The
gravel to
software
pavement.
payment, yeah.
The
Oh,
software
yeah.
only
Okay,
works
sorry.
on pavement, yeah.
But I mean, it has our road, you can actually use that for work orders inside the system. And you can issue as things come in, it's got a whole bunch of tools with it. It's just like whether it's signs, whether it's potholes, whatever it is. And you can issue work orders for certain specific roads and send it out.
So you ask when, I say 2028 if the money's there. I'm sorry.
No, you're talking about, looks like $126,000 salary. And I'm guessing that's gonna come with new softwares, new computers. Safe
No,
safe to assume, right?
Well, it's just like, we're having a sheriff's pickup truck that's gonna be made available here shortly. We would use that. We wouldn't buy another pickup truck, so I think there's enough resources to handle that. We don't anticipate that being an issue. But it's still, I mean, it's not an inexpensive position.
No, it'd be one of the highest ones we can.
Then the question becomes, so how much mishandling of materials or whatever the things we do that do not effectively carry out what our expectations are, how much does that cost us?
I can't consider that because I don't know anything about it.
Do what?
What do we mishandle?
I don't know, I'm just saying, if we don't, in other words, if we utilize rock in areas that it doesn't need to be rocked, so how much of that do we put on the roads? Because,
We only do that in one area.
Very expensive.
Steve, if you would please, if you want, I'm here, please direct it to me. I've heard that on her.
Can't get a hold of you.
Okay, when I'm out of the country, I don't have a cell phone that rings, but if you will send me an email, I'll respond. Anytime I don't respond to your email, please publicly come to the stand and call me out.
Okay.
I'll do that, and I'll do the same to you, and I will email you, and that's how we'll communicate. But to keep saying that, you don't care for the individual, she's not
So
here.
you don't care for me.
It's
don't
not
care
a
for us.
personality thing. I'm sorry, folks. It's just trying to get.
It needs to stop. We all need to work together, and I have made an effort to. Do you think I haven't made an effort to work with everybody?
I'm really focused on trying to get the roads in good shape. And I think the personalities have no place. We don't have to all be buddies. We just need to serve the public. We need to provide the most effective way to manage those roads we possibly can for the resources we have available.
Here, here.
That's it. The rest of it is
I
all,
agree.
all minutia, and it shouldn't even be brought into this.
I got 41
All right.
pages of draft.
Madam President, do we need to,
Yep.
we need to limit this discussion? I think we've talked in circles a little bit.
I'm gonna go home.
Randy, thanks for your presentation, and I do want to thank you all for getting Mulzers out here to rock these roads and get these bases replaced.
We'll see how that works.
Can you have, I mean, can the commissioners and the highway, highway superintendent or whoever needs to be involved in that? I mean, can there be another discussion about this or?
There's an executive session,
Potential.
there's an executive session scheduled between the commissioners and Mr. Howell on Thursday.
We're gonna have a meeting, we're gonna have that discussion, and I have the expectation that it's going to stay professional.
I hope so.
You'll be a part of it, and if you allow it to go beyond that, then you're as guilty as
I'm
the other.
gonna tell the truth.
Okay.
Right.
But will you let us know if there's something,
I think
can we
we're at a
explore
point right now.
consulting for a plan? 'Cause
We
I-
have,
I
we have
do-
really tried to put a plan out, wanted to get something in writing, but, today we haven't got it. So, we're looking for alternatives. I mean,
Is this engineering, can you contract a PE to come in and help
Sure,
put together a plan instead of
But
hiring one and
we
then?
will have to pay them,
Well, sure.
and you don't have
I'm
any
aware.
money to pay for anything, so why go down that path if we can't utilize some already budgeted funds in order to hire an engineer, then, I mean, we're kind of between a rock and a hard spot.
Well, I agree with that, and if we can't get the workers, there was some money allocated to payroll that could be used for some of
Yeah,
that.
that's kind of what our plan was, but apparently.
That's exactly
not
what-
what we consider.
That's what I think.
So, I mean, you're still back at the same point, you're lacking employees, and you don't have any kind of a developed road plan on how you're gonna manage it.
I do have one question, if it's okay. Mr. Taylor, is that your name? Okay. So I know that you said you farm and that you would rather have the time off than the money. I don't know if that's a majority of people there or not.
I used to work at Toledo.
Okay.
Randy Clevey, commissioner at the time, called me and wanted to know if I wanted a job in the county. It works out great for farming. My dad was getting older at the time, which he's passed now, and I took the farm over.
Mhm.
That's why I took this job 12 years ago.
So more money is not, I mean, of course it'd be nice, but it's not really your goal. Your goal is to still have that flexibility with, okay,
Mr. Harpenhau's the same way,
okay.
and then there's.
So we can
more-
pay more, but it's not really helping your situation.
No.
Okay.
State highway.
But
if
other
they're
people
working
may-
An option of either getting comp time or getting paid for it. That would be nice if we could do that. The ones that lead off the farm could take the comp time and others could get paid for the time. I mean, it'd be nice if that was an option.
Do you have a good enough mixture where you could have a crew that could be there that doesn't need to farm and then?
Yeah, it's not like everybody's gone. I mean, we still have enough people to do things there with it. And they don't all take off the same time to farm, their property, one of them might be too wet. And they don't take off, it overlaps sometimes, but not always.
I was just trying to think if it was more pay, then we could look that direction, but really for you, it's not, I mean, of course, more pay is good, but it's not really that.
Have adapted to the pay that we.
Okay. So your schedule is what's more important to you,
Yeah. And
Most of them out there.
the
Yeah.
flexibility.
and we start earning this overtime, then it's gonna put us in a higher tax bracket. We sure the hell don't want that.
Okay.
And
I'm just trying to understand what's most important to you guys.
And overtime is always taxed a lot higher than anything else.
I think it's free.
Overtime's free.
Oh, no.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not,
Forget
it's not feasible. I mean, it's just not.
You're just telling me that there's a certain group of you that would rather have that comp time so you can do your other thing that you're wanting to
Everybody
do.
out there wants to come. Pretty
So
much.
bear in mind as you do this, and then you take and comp out your employees, each one of them primarily probably is on county insurance and also on 11.2% contributions. So when you look at that, you have more of an expense with each salary than what just it appears to be in wages.
Yeah, I understand.
And so you would, if that position took a family plan and the retirement benefits were put onto it, then you have a bucket of money potentially to hire a contractor, because the contractor is flat price. So however you can determine what you want the contractor to achieve and how he's gonna do that. That gets back to the same thing. If you let them run wild, you may get this much rock on there and it looks real good until the first rain and it's back in the ditches. So that's where you really have to have some type of a requirement, just like you do with paving, that you're gonna get what you think you're gonna get bought. So
Can I ask a question? Okay, you're talking about this engineer, you're gonna pay him out of the payroll from the guys that have quit, is that correct? Am I understanding that right?
there's
Open,
several
open positions, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Open position, what, same thing. So what if, for some reason, hopefully Steve gets 5 applications, they're good? He's
We
gonna
got 8
hire,
openings
how are you
right now.
gonna pay him?
We're in good shape because we got 8 openings.
Okay, but still.
If he gets 6
How you gonna pay
employees,
him?
we'd still.
Well, what it would do, from my understanding, it would be just eliminate, instead of 8, there would be 6 openings, is what I'm thinking. Instead of,
You're still gonna be short
Then
employees.
we're still behind.
You're still short employees. And then if you're gonna use all that money up, how you gonna pay the employees that you have? I mean, that's my question. If you're taking the money from their salaries.
well, we have it budgeted. We have their salaries already budgeted. It's just, he's talking about the ones that are sitting there as time goes on and they're not filled right now. If you're not getting enough people, well, if you're not getting enough people applying for those things, then it's just,
So if you do get the people, are you gonna get rid of the engineer then? I mean,
I think what he's saying is if they hire an engineer,
Yeah.
they would not replace 2 of the
it
truck
would
drivers.
reduce the overall
So there
staff.
would be
so
less,
then you're still gonna be short.
correct.
So you would have 1 engineer and 2 less people, so 1 less overall
Okay, well, that
person,
makes
1 less
sense.
overall person.
I mean, that makes sense.
The
You
engineers
explained it.
typically.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still gonna be short.
It would be 1 less
But
person.
the engineers.
Well, the expectation would be that they would work. I mean, and not just do the book work, they would need to also help, I think, right? I mean, I don't know.
They have to have safety.
But again, see, the question becomes when you can hire mulchers and they haul 3 times the rock that a single axle truck hauls, you can actually become more efficient.
I guess you didn't see the pictures, am I correct?
You can't, there's areas, and if we have to have that discussion with mulchers, I expect Steve to have it. If you can't get competent people that can spread the rock,
Already talked to them.
we've got other vendors that are interested in providing us rock.
I think they'll take care of the problem.
Okay, so I don't perceive that to be a problem.
Mr.
We just have to have that conversation.
Mr. Harper, now, I thought you were,
Oh, yeah, sorry. You can speak. Sorry, it was, no, I don't mind.
go ahead.
We all work together out there. I knew some of them was gonna farm this summer, or this fall. I used all my vacation and comp time here at Christmas. That's why I wasn't around for 3 weeks. Because I knew these guys were gonna be there. We had the Turkey House Hill to take care of. They needed an operator, truck drivers. I've been truck driver. I was truck driver for that job. Instead of taking off during nice weather, when I should have had some sense, I took off in bad weather, just because I knew some of the guys were taking off just when we had people there. So we all worked together out there.
Yeah, we got a very dedicated group to try to get things done.
I knew if I took off, we wouldn't be able to do that turkey house job, or it'd be even harder. So, I mean, we all work together out there. I mean, the comp time thing, really, I don't see where it's affected us so much. Because, like I said, I farm too, but not as much as they do. So, when I should have been taking off during nice weather, if I had any brains, but I didn't. So I waited till Christmas, and that's why I was gone for 3 weeks before Christmas, trying to burn that so I wouldn't lose it. That's all I want to say.
Okay, I just wanted to
I
make sure,
appreciate
yeah. Okay. We'll see how your meeting goes, and if you guys come up with any ideas or something else you want to bring to us, or another, I don't know.
And if you guys come up with any unique ways, we're open. Because the main thing, our goal is quality roads.
Right.
And prevent the need to jump up at any given time, as much as
I
possible.
agree.
It'll happen. But if we can avoid that, it gives us the opportunity to plan. And then we can do the work. It's much better. Thank you.
Randy,
I
we
agree.
all need to work
Thank you.
together better than what we have been.
Okay.
We didn't have no problems with Peter,
Don't go there.
Do you know when we had the?
Don't go there.
You guys can talk on whenever your thing is,
Yeah, sorry.
or whenever you want. You
Yeah.
call each other. Okay, next we have minutes. Let me find them. Okay, minutes from December 18th and January 5th. You want them separate?
Yes.
Okay. Were there any changes?
We changed, we had one change of a typo, that we changed. Ready was spelled, the Ready grant was spelled wrong, and then also if you look on yours, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Missing the I, we fixed that, okay, yeah, so.
All right, does anybody else have any questions or changes on these, or are we good with the changes that Chris?
Spelled minutes wrong.
Yeah, she got it.
Got it.
I didn't see that.
Okay.
No, we caught him, didn't we? We caught
All right.
the minute changes.
If there's no changes on December 18th, I'll entertain or no additional changes, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 18th minutes.
Okay, motion made by
presented.
David,
Second.
second by Corey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, next one is January 5th. Just a couple grammar errors there, but yeah, just the minutes.
Typos, not grammar.
Whatever.
She probably barked, big bite, oh, be careful.
I'll see you at Goodwill. Huh?
Don't you all have to vote on whatever you did there?
What do we do?
Well,
Highway department.
I don't know, on the
We didn't.
highway, what did you do?
We didn't do it. We didn't take action.
Didn't take any action.
Well,
We just asked him to come back with another option.
but don't you have to table this or whatever? You don't have to do anything?
I mean, we didn't motion any requests. We didn't motion to make any adjustments or anything, so. I mean, we just, they can
It's just
bring us,
discussion.
yeah, it's just bring us another idea. So January 5th, I'll entertain a motion on these minutes.
I make the motion.
Motion made by Brad,
I'll second it.
second by Paul. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? 6-0. Okay. Then, oh, you're up. You have this?
The first thing we've got is timber sales. I sent you guys all the documentation. Timber sales that we received on January 6th of 2026 in the amount of $34,603.81. Per House Bill 1424, you guys determine the distribution of that money. The House and World Act 1424. So I sent you guys the disbursement amounts for each of these, or the amounts that we received for each of them. So these, you determine the disbursement amount to the volunteer fire departments in these townships. There is a minimum amount, which is the 1,000.
Yeah.
And then the total amount at the county discretion. So I also gave you guys a history. Yep, that's the total amount.
So we can give them a minimum of 1,000 or up to
We can get
2471.
50% of the
Yeah.
total.
Okay,
I think that's what we need to do.
I'm in favor of the higher amount.
50%.
Instead of 1,000 for the fire departments, give them 2,471.71. Because they're always needing help, and I think that they do a good job of hustling and trying to get donations and do fundraisers and all that, but that's just my opinion.
I totally agree.
Does anybody have anything else on that, or what do you think?
I think it'd be good. More, yeah.
Paul, do you have any comments on that between the 1,000 minimum or the 2,471.71? For each of the fire departments, that would be half of, or the maximum what we could do, which is half.
50% of that.
I'm good with that, yeah.
All right, so that would be for Anderson Township Volunteer Fire Department, Candleton, Central Perry, Tell City Fire Department, Troy Volunteer Fire Department, Rome Volunteer Fire Department, and Perry County EMA Fire Rescue.
I'll make a motion for that higher.
For the
amount
2004-7171.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made by Corey, second by David. Any
Yes.
further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, so the next thing is I want to bring up the discussion about dormant accounts. I know I had started with sending you guys an email back at the end of the year. Really wanting to look on, no, I said accounts, sorry, funds. I really want to look at getting our fund report cleaned up to where when we pull our fund report, it's accurate and we know, okay, these are usable funds, these are monies that we're able to spend and know what we can spend it for. I went through all of these, so I went through in December, all of our funds, and all of these funds listed here have been inactive since 2019 or before. So, well, actually, there's couple grants on here that were before, or they're after that. I apologize, I have a pinched nerve in my back and I'm really struggling. No, I want to get it done. Like I said, most of these have been inactive since 2019. All of them have not had any activity for at least 2 years, okay? I reached out to the State Board of Accounts. They referred me to a Bolton. First, on my first call.
That bulletin.
Yeah, this
I
Bolton.
thought you said Bolton.
Sorry.
Sorry, I thought that was a person. I was like,
What
who's
did I
that?
say?
It's okay.
It hurts to talk. So basically with that, when a fund has had no activity for 2 years, you can declare it dormant and move it to the general fund based on Indiana Code 63-1-8-5. Okay. Now, I did have a phone conversation, which then generated an email with Lori Rogers also. No, I'm good. It's just my back. And it's basically at our discretion how we handle it. Once a grant is closed, it's done. And I think what's happened with some of these grants is like these ones from 21 and 22, they closed out. You have to create a new fund for your new grant that starts in 23, 24. And I think in transitioning from one grant to the next grant, some of these monies were kind of forgot about, and left. I want to also bring back a situation in 2023 that when I started here, there were multiple negative funds that had been negative for several years. And when I researched those, in those situations, what had happened is transition from grant to grant where things had been paid out of the wrong grant. So what we did was we, of course, had to balance out those because I can't get rid of a zero fund. And I know one of those grants was the COPS grant from 2023 that we had to pull money from the current grant to settle up the old grant fund. So the transition, it's just mostly with these grants, transitioning from one grant to another grant, which is has different funds. So what I'd like to do is look at some of these, and I want to kind of decide to look at them, you guys. I want to be able to look at these grants. By state statute, we can move this money to the general fund because it meets the dormant status. But looking at some of these funds, we've got matching, or not, I won't say matching, but identical grants for the current year. So instead of just doing that, maybe since that's the situation, is that something you guys want to consider doing is, we've got the emergency preparedness from 21-22. That has $413.09 in it. We currently have an emergency preparedness grant, so move that to the current one.
I think so.
And that way you're covered also,
Yes.
just in case they would ever come back.
Yeah, so then I want to look at that for the grants, the inactive grants.
There's not very many, right?
No, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What is that last grant there?
I have absolutely no clue.
What
It's
is
been
it?
sitting there. We're gonna have to pull, we're gonna have to dig because, these are old, so they're all
That's quite a bit.
put away. It's not something that I can just go to a file and pull it out. They're
Yeah.
put away.
Mhm.
This is kind of what I call as a 2026 project with the grants, because, of course, we're like every other office, we've got stuff to do, so this is gonna be on when we have time, to go and dig for this stuff.
But I mean, you're not aware of this FSSA health
As a
grant?
current, no, but I wanna go ahead and look.
Snap. That's something snap right there.
I'll dig into, I have absolutely no clue. We don't have anything matching for that, but I know with the health immunization, emergency preparedness, the house grant matching.
Did you check with Donnell or maybe see if they know what that is? Okay.
No.
Maybe just check.
So
with them.
we're gonna dive into the grants. The home rule funds are individual funds that are set up by the county
Mhm.
and have just been set up and are no longer being used. So you are fully capable to move those to the general fund if you so choose.
Which ones are those? These?
The 4,000s.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
4,000s, okay? And you have all this in an email from Lori, if you guys read that
Yeah.
email.
And it's like, I thought you have it marked here.
Yeah. And then, if I turn papers, I get sore.
You have to give it to me.
I don't know where it's at. It should be, oh, here it is right here, sorry. So then you've got the top funds, the 1,000s, and then you've got 2,000. And I've kind of given you guys each of the IC codes that Lori Rogers was super helpful to get me from to explain what each of these funds are, because these are not home rule funds. And basically the action that can be taken on those, like the omitted property tax has a specific statute of any money not used to pay for cost of omitted property taxes should be part of settlement. So back whenever this money was collected, it should have been included in settlement.
Distributed out.
The 1177. So I have notes to process that with the spring settlement. But like I said, that fund has not had any activity since 2019.
And that's the total amount, then you'll distribute it based on the percentages. Who
Yes.
gets what.
Okay, so 1177, did I say 1117? I think I did. 1177, the omitted property taxes will be zeroed out with spring settlement. So there's that one. Then the electronic map generation fund is established by an ordinance. The physical body of a political subdivision having a public agency that charges a fee under section 8J of this chapter shall adopt an ordinance establishing an electronic map generation fund. This ordinance must specify that the funds consistence of fees collected under section 8J of this chapter. This fund shall be administered by the public agency that collects these fees. So this is what in reading this, and I can go on, there's more, but I think this is a fee-based account that we set up with general mapping. So if we want to look into what those monies can be spent for. But like I said, it is considered a dormant account with no activity.
Can be sweet.
So it can be swept. Okay. Saying goes, like I said, you're more than welcome to read into all this on the, I want to, the top one, which is a community transition program. I did do some research on that. That is part of community corrections. So, but there, like I said, there has not been any activity on it. I think that one was back to 2018. It was prior to 2019. It was one of the older ones. So I feel that should be used for community corrections. So we're kind of at the point where we've got the electronic mapping that can be swept, the auditor's ineligible deductions, and the alternative dispute resolutions. Those can be swept if we're no longer using them for the purpose of that. Okay, so not as pretty as the 144. I already put a transfer because I felt comfortable with it today. If you guys, when we get to it for the animal shelter, We had an old animal shelter fund that had $3,868.73 in it. Has not had any activity on it for quite some time. So we have a animal shelter fund, which I believe is, what is it, 1180, the animal shelter restricted fund. So I put it on the agenda for us to transfer that to that fund where we've got all of our animal shelter monies together. So I feel like it was a blessing and that we did have our 12/31 meeting. I know we probably would have been okay and covered with the dormant status rule to transfer this to general, but I personally feel that the grants, we should move them to the active grants that they have. Oh, sorry, I don't have this listing up there, guys, sorry. To that, because some of them are $7.94, 400. The only big one is that 15,920. So like I said, as we dive into these, we will, bring this to you, but I can for sure do the health immunization and ready preparedness and the house management grant and the health annual grant. So we'd just be down to one grant that we really have to research because we've got ones for the other ones. So it's your guys' decision how you want to move forward.
Will it mess them up on reporting though, whenever they're going and saying, here's our charges, because we had this money, and they say, well, you didn't have that much money in there. I mean, is that gonna cause a problem? I don't know, maybe that's
I mean, they're
something.
doing that, so I wouldn't think so.
Well, I mean,
Well,
but we're
they're
adding
new
it to their balance, and their
Oh.
balance is
They're new
gonna be
one.
off what their. I don't
Maybe
know.
they need to spend it.
Well, I
I
mean,
remember bringing all these up at budget time, so I'm glad that.
Yes.
I personally would like to see, just come to the next meeting with line item.
Yeah.
What your recommendation is, and let us deal with it that way all at one time.
Um,
Fell swoop.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the home rules and the ones I went up there can go to general. I mean, technically, I've spoken with other auditors too.
or not. This is not an actual program.
No.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not active anymore, but it was a community correction.
Yeah.
I have spoken to several auditors, and you have to understand, State Board of Accounts is not going to give you any legal action on what you could do. They're gonna give you state statute and state code, and they're gonna be that code that says you can transfer it to the general fund if it meets the dormant status. What was I getting? I've talked to several auditors. This is not uncommon. I actually just spoke with the Vanderburgh County auditor and asked him, when I've been talking to different people, and he's like, oh yeah, if the grant, if there's money left in it and they didn't spend it, we just move that to general. So
So is that what it says, is that can go to general?
Yes.
So all these should go to general, not to those specific.
They don't have to go to those.
Right.
they don't have to go to those funds, no. If a account meets the dormant status and the grant has been closed out, so it's done,
Mhm.
then, the report has been given, so they're aware that $7.94 is left in there. They're aware that $10.64 or $413 is in there. It's done. The dormant status says you can move this to the general fund. So Kelly wanted me to do my due diligence to make sure that that's that. I am sitting here thinking and questioning now, moving it in. Now, if they spend the money, but you're gonna be reporting that you received more money. If you move these into the grants, you're gonna be reporting that you received more money than you did.
Well, it sounds
And
like
you're
we're
spending
only
more than
covered
you brought
two
in.
moving to general.
Sounds like you
Based
have
on
to follow
statute,
the
right?
dormant status.
I mean, as long as you got it from the
Yeah.
state, that's okay, I'm glad you
Yeah.
did, and that's all I
Yeah.
really wanted, is something that
Yeah.
we're covered in an audit. If, they told us that this is what their proper process, this is what you're supposed to do.
That's
So that
following
we're
other
not-
standards that other
Absolutely, so
counties have
thank you
done.
for doing
Now,
that.
with that being said,
Mhm.
transfers do not have to be advertised. They have to be approved by you. So we don't have to table, well, maybe we should. Well, no, because all of this, if you're not gonna transfer to the grants, all of this can be transferred to the general fund.
And that,
As long as
that's,
you have that.
that's what I believe we should do, is just sweep these things out, close them down, and put it into general, and then if there are needs associated with these things, we'll deal with them on an individual basis.
Yeah. And you have the records here, so if they would audit you and say, why did you do that? You say, well, you told me to do it.
I've
Tell me
got
that's what I do.
the bulletin
Yeah.
And an email from the State Board of Accounts with those.
I'm satisfied with that.
I'm gonna make a motion to transfer the funds from these 15 dormant accounts to the general fund in the amount of $141,432.84.
Second that motion.
Motion made by Corey, second by Brad. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? 6-0. Thanks for your work on that.
The item in yellow that I added, guys, and I appreciate you doing this, and the Community Corrections does as well. I got received a transfer request, actually with this exact same thing, closing out one and going to a new. We need to do cash and appropriation, because basically what you're doing, which is honestly kind of what you're doing with the HFI, you're moving cash from one fund to another, and you're also allowing them to spend that for these. So the first thing is, I guess we should put those on there opposite. Cash transfer of Community Corrections from 1122, which is their project income fund, to 9160 for the Community Corrections Fund, in the amount of $352.75.
I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by David,
Second.
second by Gail. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? 6-0.
The next thing is she's wanting to switch the appropriation when this fund was, or when the appropriation was in 1112, it was in the retirement fund. She is wanting that appropriation to remain in the retirement fund, in the retirement account. She's wanted to remain in the retirement account in Fund 9160 in the amount of $352.75.
So we can't do additional, but this is okay.
This is just a transfer.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Corey, second by Brad. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? 6-0.
The last one is a cash transfer as well, which is what I was talking about before, moving the dormant monies in the Fund 4923 of the Animal Shelter Fund to the active Fund 1180, Animal Shelter Restricted Fund, $3,868.73.
And that's the fund where the rent money goes in and we take care of the building.
Correct.
I mean, you can do other things, but yeah, 10,000 of our budgeted amount came out of there, I think, this year.
No, we're paying the full
Oh,
60.
Or 60, yeah.
We're paying the full 60 out of it, so we're gonna need
One time, gotcha. Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion for this one.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by David,
I'll second it.
second by Paul.
My question on that is if we're going on the dormant rule we just looked at, does this need to go to general?
I really don't, I think this is where, this was the fund that was set up, it was lost.
So just like renamed or something?
Yes, I think that what happened is, then another one was created when we started doing the rent.
Yep.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was.
Yes, so I think that this
Should've been
is
there.
animal shelter money.
When they shut down originally.
Yes, I think, so, you see what I mean? I think this money was for purpose of animal shelter, but you guys, it falls under the dormant status, so you guys can do whatever you wish. That is your guys' decision. I do want to remind you that we are paying the full contract amount of $60,000 for the animal shelter out of this fund. If you do the math on the fund, it's gonna leave us with about 42,000 in there after we pay that 60, and that's not counting any building maintenance or anything, so,
But it continues.
it grows, it does continue to grow.
Chris?
If I may,
Yeah.
I blinked, maybe dozed off for a second.
I messed up, yeah, don't,
Those
you
numbers
guys
are
don't
off.
look at that, I copied and pasted, did you miss the beginning with my changes? Sorry.
I get it.
Yeah, I should take that out there, sorry, guys.
Good catch, though.
Thank you, I appreciate it,
He's paying attention to details.
yeah. I'm sorry, I'll take that out,
I think we can skip the step on this one and just
Yeah.
do this.
the animal shelter.
You want to be intentional and put it back in the animal shelter. Okay.
Yeah.
So, didn't I have a
You have
motion?
a motion in a second.
Who was it? David H. and Paul Rockford.
Motion made by David, second by Paul. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? 6-0.
I really do appreciate this. It's been something that, you know, I think it'll help us at budget time.
Oh, yeah.
To won't have funds that we don't know what it is. So
I'm taking.
we could try to look up what we can spend it for.
You sure did.
All right, all right, I'm almost done. It's that time of year again. One of the goals for me is that we don't ever have to do temporary loan transfers, but we're not quite there yet. So I need some money in QCAP development to get me through till spring settlement. We have definitely dwindled down in the amounts of loans that we are doing.
That's a good thing.
So typically this is normal. I know in my 3 years, the first year we had to do 200 to QCAP.
Yep.
In the last few years, we've had to do 100. This is just not a fund that we've got the reserve to handle the expenses at the beginning of the year before we get our spring settlement. I am confident that we will be able to pay this back with spring settlement. Last year, we had to wait because I don't remember why. But in looking at our thing, I believe we'll be able to. If something changes, it'll be paid back with fall settlement. But my plans are to try and pay this back with spring settlement, so I will keep you posted on that. But with a temporary loan, it's just transferring from one of your funds. We typically transfer from capital projects, and that money has to be transferred transferred back by the end of before the end of the calendar year. So.
I make a motion to approve a $100,000 transfer.
I'll second.
Motion made by Corey, second by Brad. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We'll try not to charge you interest.
Think of that.
Not charging me.
You're doing it. All right. Next, that's it for you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have annual review of rules of decorum. So I had sent around the 2025, and actually, I mean, it continues on. It says this resolution shall remain in full force and effect until further action by the council. But since we have some new members and things, I think we should just go ahead and do it again. Did anybody have any questions about this? It didn't change from last year, just the date. And these are put on the bulletin boards outside here. And then there's also a little arrow with a little note there that says that they're on the bulletin board. So thank you for doing that. And then anybody, if you want a copy of this is online too on the website. And then if you want a copy, you can get this from the auditor or email me and I'll send it to you. Anything like that. I don't have to read this again, right?
You're looking for a
You
motion,
actually don't
we're
have to-
discussing it.
Do that because it goes for.
I know, but if we want to, if we have the new members and we want to sign them and do it again. Do you want a motion for this, for 2026 and
It's up to you.
on? I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Paul,
I'll second it.
second by Brad. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Okay, so we'll just get a new one signed and we'll get it right here. Thank you. All right, next we have internal controls and personnel policy handbook acknowledgement. Kelly Wodas had sent out an email, I think January 9th, to have them done by tomorrow. So if you don't have those done, the email was on January 9th.
It's online.
What? Yeah, she emailed them to us, so just print them off and fill them out and scan them, send them back in if you haven't done that. You have to watch this video. It's in,
19 minutes and 51 seconds.
yeah, same one that you watched last year, probably.
Sorry.
Okay.
Already did it and turned it in.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's just a reminder on that. If you need a copy of those forms, I can print you one too. Next, we have sheriff's salary matrix ordinance. So Brad, do you want to talk about this
Yeah.
first and then we'll invite these guys up?
Right. For those that aren't familiar, we have come up with a matrix for payment to the deputies. We had a loss of a lot of deputies back when Alan Malone was still our sheriff. Alan and Eric brought to our attention some of the concerns that they had that were involved. Sheriff deputies under a lot of stress, concerns about vehicles that they were having to drive that had substantial miles and were constantly in the shops. and then emotional and physical stress that a sheriff's deputy has to go through that other employees, maybe not all, other employees don't go through. And the fact that essentially these guys were additionally stressed because they have additional skills and risks to their own personal safety that they put on the line. This organization is very concerned about public safety. So therefore, whenever David became sheriff, Gail, myself, and Kelly sat down with them to discuss how to move forward. David came up with an idea to essentially, if I could check my notes here, move forward with a program that was based on years of service, rank, and then additional training certifications that a deputy can receive on the county dime to come back and be able to train other deputies in our force without them having the expense of going to those trainings if they get that certification, and give them a small bump in salary based on those skills that they were willing to go out and get to try to save our department money. He also suggested that we work within a framework that essentially Tell City had started. So we had been working with the Tell City Police Department in order to get this together. They've had a couple meetings, passed some emails back and forth. We've dealt with the attorney Ron Acciardo, and then passing things through Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy to make sure that they met all of the employment laws so that we didn't run afoul of any of those based on what we had written. We've had several rounds of checking grammar, checking terms, things that honestly look a little bit nitpicky to start off with, but in the long run, I think all of us, and Eric's shaking his head right now, those corrections were made, and we think that they will save us trouble in the long run. And so as of today, I think we've had the blessing from everyone that the matrix is in place, and it is a compliant document. And, we're all wanting to move forward to make sure that we retain the deputies. This is a risk that we're taking because we've talked about the fact that the limited funds that we have available and the stress that was caused to all employees whenever the stipend wasn't able to be reissued, okay? And we're going out on a limb here because we are trying to maintain the public safety through the compensation for deputies and essentially use funds that may not be recyclable, that won't show up again, opiate funds and a few other things. Just looking for ways to do this, okay, in a way that we hope to have to, well, we're going to probably struggle to maintain. But with that said, David, you want to come up and talk about anybody else have any comments?
I just want to say, I agree with you that it's, we're going to have to make it a priority within the budget. So that's how this is, if this is passed, it's going to have to be a priority because once you do it, there's no going back. I mean, this is what it is. This is the expectation. This is what they can expect in the future. And it's my expectation that come budget time, they will be looked at separately than all other county employees, just because they have some different things going on here. There's some different wheels turning. And so that's just what I think about it.
Thank you all. And I know you three were some of the major ones, but everybody's involved in this.
Yes.
And I want to start off with that. No disrespect to any other employees and anything about the jobs that they do because they're all important. And even just having the county highway guys here, they're going to be out there too when it's snowing and icy. They're out there when limbs are falling down. So we all got jobs to do. But we really do appreciate it. And Eric was very instrumental in working this through. What it is in a nutshell is that it's trying to set up a scheduling based on years of experience, and that's because we had discussed this before, and that is it takes a new officer, whether it's male or female, doesn't matter. And we use certain terminology, but we call somebody, say, a rookie if they're in their first year or not, but they really don't change that much after 1 year. Law enforcement is constantly evolving, and even as the U.S. Supreme Court said, that laws are dynamic and constantly changing, that the Constitution of the United States is a living thing that has its own breath and time and it moves. And so a lot of constrictions that are imposed upon that is like a new officer is still learning and moving forward even after year 1, 2, and into 3. We need to keep the officers and let that experience bleed on over. And then Kelly, and you said Brad too, and Gail, and some of you guys know this, the training issues, that's why we incorporate that in there. There's mandatory hours that are mandatory training each year. Some of those involve what we call motor skills, and they have to be done, as well as then the intellectual ones, and that is, I can't begin to think of all the ones we have to go back into, and that's a reoccurring issue too. And then the very things that we do is that those decision makings and being out here, and I will be the one to say this because I guess I can get away with it. With the upcoming storms possibly this weekend, I was talking to my wife and she's trying to figure out what to do. And I said, when I was retired, I said, this was one of the things I liked the best. And that was when it was going to be a blizzard or something. I could just roll over in bed and say, what the heck? But making plans about being out, we figure Monday's going to be a busy day and Sunday too and more. So that's why we, sometimes hide out when we can for a few hours. But the ordinance is set up, and we're very happy with what some of you has helped formulate here and what Eric's worked hard to do. And I want to throw Kelly Wilgus in there too, because she and I said in one meeting, I think Kelly was in that one, and Kelly and I were crunching numbers. And that was to try and Chris has been in there too, try and crunch these numbers. So you've got some exhibits in front of you, and basically what they're saying as to who is on the department right now, and based on years of service, what their skill sets is, and that this isn't in stone. Well, this is in stone, but in one respect. So the question was about financing and other stuff. So what if we do have a change, or what if somebody says, I don't want to any longer do some of the duties that was piled upon me, and that's okay. Then they would be reduced down. We get a hold of everybody and say, hey, that pay's not there anymore for that bump that they may have gotten through that set. And when I say that, these skill sets are actually regulated by a lot of other statutes, and the requirements to stay within that and stay up on the learning and that type of thing. Also, should somebody leave, and that's all in here about that, for whatever reason, their time will start fresh as year number 1. Somebody comes and changes from a part-time employee to a full-time employee. That's only now will some of this start taking effect. If they later go down to a part-time status, we're going to keep notifications up and stay abreast of this so that we're all on the same page, and that nothing's getting away from us here. It's a little lengthy. I don't know if you guys are going to read it word for word through it. Have to read it.
We do have to. Oh, hold on. I thought you said we don't. I thought you said we don't have to read it unless there's a local ordinance. Is that right?
No, you just have to read the title, sorry, yes.
This is Donald.
Are you sure?
Yes, and if it's a unanimous, yes, sorry.
I was going to tease Chris if we had to read it all.
I'll let her read it if it's.
No.
I read it a lot. I should probably know it.
I've joked with our judges sometimes is that if they were paid by the word, they'd even make more money, because the legalese gets a little lengthy.
Just have to read the title.
And like Brad said, we did have, I reached out to Rod, our council attorney, and he reviewed it and said it was good to go from his end. They were in communication with Wagner Irwin Shealy, which is our HR consultant, who would know all the Fair Labor Standards Act laws and everything. We tried to do our best to make sure that this is all compliant, and they've signed off on it as well, correct?
Correct.
And just real quick, since you said that,
Yeah.
as far as some of the civilians behind me, is that, yeah, there's different things that he would understand. And that is the hours rated on is not a 40-hour work week. It's based on a 28-day cycle. It's based on 170 some hours on each thing. And yeah, there's a lot that kind of goes into it. to try
And I failed to
track this.
acknowledge Chris and Callie Wilgus are working with us and doing that. And that took a lot of work of things that you, Kelly and I didn't even think about that they brought to our attention.
Oh, no,
And
and-
correct us, yes.
And I wanted to say also that Derek Llewellyn from Tell City was,
Yes.
whenever this first started, I reached out to him and got what they're doing. And ours is just a little different. The pay structure is very close to what the same.
Yes,
But there's a few little things with payroll and how things are gonna be paid out and stuff that'll be different. But he was a big help to me because I had a lot of questions, so.
And Corey was very good about reviewing the language
Yeah.
and making sure that things.
I can remember, Brad, were you there with us at the meeting room, in your
Oh,
meeting
yeah.
room? Yeah, that's when we were doing things to the fourth decimal place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got a little
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah, I got really strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just here if you guys have some basic questions to ask Eric or I, we can try and jump in, or if comments from you or things, we really appreciate this. I know it's a lot of work, and I know it is financially a stress into the county's budget and the monies that are there. Again, no disrespect to any other employees or anything else that's going on, but for the LE program, a lot of other organizations, in fact, and I'm trying to think of organizations that aren't doing this now to try and retain their people and keep them there, because all of you know it, a new person and the years of experience as they gather that down there is really an insurance policy for the county itself or the organization. The training, when people say, well, you're just taking this training because, oh, it's going to maybe create a change in your status. But training is another, and I'm a big believer in proponent of training. The training is another type of insurance policy. It's how we stay abreast of things. And just the other day, as far as helping us out, I know the prosecutor's office just sent out some emails with additional issues that are new case law that's coming up, new things that's always being enacted. And like I said, criminal, civil law, traffic law, it's very dynamic and it changes all the time. And I just feel like this is a good step forward to try and keep the county as a safer, better county, and the people we represent, keep them safe.
Yeah, and it, you know, right before Alan left, there was a new hire, and with that new legislation as of July last year, if you steal an officer from another department, it could be $50,000-$60,000 just to take them. And so then you've got that on top of.
Additional things. Yeah.
Yeah,
3
that
years,
if you
yeah.
go back 3
Right.
years, yeah. So it could be a lot higher than that, actually.
And
So
since
I
you brought
think-
that up, yeah,
Send us bill.
we're discussing with the other organization, and
Okay, we
That-
haven't
that-
heard things
that is
about it.
brand-
It went away.
no, that's brand new. I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, it's brand new legislation, so actually we're treading on new ice out here to see how thick it is. what we're
I just think if we're gonna, that's what it's gonna require to replace every time someone leaves, we need to, I just think we've got to invest in the ones we have so that they are not leaving. And I know money's not everything, but it will help. And then anything, like you said, you're big on training and things like that.
And the deputies need to be rewarded for the effort they put forth to make our department better. And I think this goes a long way towards doing that, rewarding them for the amount of effort that they do or do not want to put forward. Yes.
Thank you. And I think that they do see that this is a very big step, and that very appreciative.
We were able to budget and do an additional for the 3 vehicles to get that rotation started. So I think that's on a good path. You got those in, right?
We did additional for.
We did an additional for 1, but we
Right.
budgeted 2. And so you ended up,
It was just out of, you just appropriated it out of the wheel.
well,
But
okay.
yes, but yeah,
We ended up getting 3.
yeah.
So it helps start that rotation so that we can make sure that you're always in a safe, reliable vehicle, and then we can move out the ones that need to move out. So I'm sure those are gonna get upfitted soon, probably, and then be on the road.
We
I don't know how long
actually
that
just
takes.
got the graphics, some of the graphics just came in, and we were talking with some of the people that's gonna do some of the work. And
Okay.
we do have those stored inside right now at a different garage that's in a different location and out of the weather right now while we're trying to get things figured out here.
Okay.
So
We will have to sustain this.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and that's what I was trying to say, like, it is
And hopefully
a big commitment
The
and it has,
legislation will stay,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah,
would be a big help.
I mean, we're kind of, that is part of the problem with the 28, we see relief in sight for 28, but that's
As
a
long as it
moving
doesn't
target.
change.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
moving
that's
target.
still
We just
coming.
know what we
We're
have
still
right
waiting.
now.
We don't need 1187.
Well, she's gonna go up there and tell them we don't need 1187, she said. I don't know if she is, I'm just teasing.
So we're here available if you guys got any questions or anything you want clarification.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I think it's important to note that we're talking about the large sum of money and all this, and I
Oh, yeah.
don't want the public to think any of these deputies are getting rich because
No.
of this huge,
No.
that's not the case.
No.
What's the breakdown of it on, how many years? I agree they need more money. I've been in their position. I wore a uniform since I was 21 years old too.
Mhm.
But what's the breakdown on when the increase and how much for each additional
On-
certification?
Okay, on the basics, just to answer Warren's question, but to everybody, on the basics deal, statements are that as they knew, and we just had to label people and put them in a label so that we could come back to it. So a recruit is somebody who has 0 time up to and equal to or greater than right at the 1 year mark. Then they become a merit deputy and they've had to go before, and we send that to the merit board also. We did put a caveat in there, it's in the language of this, that talks about just because they have been on for 1 year is not an automatic into the merit status in case there was some other issues or challenges about a learning curve or something like that, that with the merit board and by factual basis, we could keep somebody in a status of still being a officer who's still in that training process. Then we just, lack of nothing new and flashy here. We labeled the deputies as a 1, 2, 3, or 4, and that just had to do with the number of years of service. Short breakdown is the merit deputy was after 1 year to 3, and then number 1 is 3 to 6, 2 is 6 to 9, 3 is 9 to 12 years on, 4 is 12 to on at that point in time, until they get around up there to the 15 to 18 year mark. We label them as a senior deputy because now we're getting people that should really be in the group. They should be mentors to everybody else underneath them. They should be able to answer just about any question that would pop up. And we had a senior and a master section on down through there. So it broke out between 18 to 20 years, and then 20 and beyond is just, we're done at 20 as far as that. On the changes for the levels of your education, and we did not include everything because there's so much in there, but we labeled and put in quite a few of the classes that are there. And as one example, if you got your instructor certification, that was worth a $500 bump. And we actually have, I should probably say that earlier, we actually have Eric who worked diligently, and we've actually got, because of some work he's done in the past for the ILEA and other stuff, we've got 2 officers slated to go Monday to a class to begin their instructor development class. And we were pushing that through because when we talk about money and time, we are going to struggle this next week because of the way their days off fell, and the length of the class is a week long right now. We're going to get to that. We only have to get coverage for 3 different shifts. And we said, and all the other officers were on board. They said, we'll all bite the bullet to get the coverage for the 3 shifts, because we think in the very near future, that class is going to be mandated as a 2-week course. And they're going to have to be on site and do other things. And it just jumped and elevated itself up. So that was one. And then Warren, for your benefit, and you know, some of these is, without even having to look and read them all, EVOC, emergency vehicle operations courses, as being an instructor through that, are firearms, of course. These are high risk, low incidences, we hope, of things. But by having our own trainers through the train the trainer, then we don't now have to start sending people for days on end or to go as far even as to as to the academy up at Plainfield, yes, and other places to get that kind of education. And now they're gone, and plus travel time, plus putting them up overnight and staying there, because those are in themselves several day courses. Some of the job studies or job stuff would be like the sex offender registry, which I'll speak from some personal experience. My son was involved in that at Du Bois County Sheriff's Department, and they actually wound up hiring and paying another a lady to just assist him in the paperwork on that. That's a mandated deal by the state and the feds, and that is one of those things and you may know or not know, there's quite a few in Perry County. And this requires like keeping tabs on these people when they have been adjudicated to be a sexual predator on the high risk end, of where they live, where they work, what they drive, how they are, and to stay away from school corporations, public parks, certain things where children and other people are there. A lot of work into that. Some of the other ones, physical tactics. There's different things. Some of you may, I don't want to give all the everybody's going to what. But school resource, if we have some in there, but we don't right now. But anyway, just reading through a couple of them. RAD, it's called, that's a rate of aggressive defense class schooling to teach women to become, some of you would fit right in and others aren't. We want you to become more assertive. So for your ladies out there, it's class in the future that, yeah, you're too nice. You're all too nice. That's why you let strangers walk right up to you and engage in anything. Yeah. When I married my wife, she was real easygoing and a sweetheart. But now you start walking up to her in an elevator or somewhere in a parking garage, she may do something really hard to you and take you out for a moment.
Careful, this is recorded.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's okay.
He's warning the public.
We will post this.
I don't go in the dark house with her in there. I let her know I'm there.
So all of our ordinances, just for reference, in case people want to know too, this is a good educational moment.
Sure.
All of our minutes, ordinances, resolutions are on, you can go to our website. We use a software called Data Pit Stop that you can, if you know the date, whatever, you can put it in. If you know the keyword, if you want to look up Dave Falkenberg, it's going to pull up every set of minutes, everything that comes with them. And then our resolutions are all done by year. So give me by tomorrow afternoon, this should be loaded up there if anybody wants to read or review this ordinance. There's ordinances and resolutions. This is an ordinance. So these will be, you can review that.
Oh, and one last thought, Warren, just this year we've gotten a positional change to as the sergeant, because that wasn't in there years before. And so there's a breakdown of the chief deputy, a lieutenant, and a sergeant.
Those are the ranks, yep.
That was budgeted though, right? Wasn't that the original budget? I know it's in there, but didn't we put that budget time?
It was a person, but I don't know that it was
It
a
was
title.
It was a positional person that sat in there, but I'm thinking in here and in here,
It's an
it shows now, yes, what that is said.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, and you have an email from State Board of Accounts.
Yep.
We don't have to read this whole thing. I read it by title.
Yes, based on IC code 36-2-4.7, you just have to read the title. And then on a unanimous consent of members present is required to pass an ordinance on the same day as the same day meeting in which it is introduced. So if it's not unanimous, then it doesn't pass today.
And then it goes potentially back to another meeting. Correct. That's correct. Okay, so you'll give it an ordinance number. Correct. Or you have it? Okay. I'll just say, is that right? Yeah, that's it.
26-2.
Ordinance number,
This is what she messed up.
ordinance number 26-2 I will read the title: an ordinance adopting County of Perry, County, Indiana. Sorry, let's start over. An ordinance adopting County of Perry, Indiana Sheriff's salary schedule and compensation policy.
He was just telling me that I got the ordinance number on the matrix.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so I read it once. And that is ordinance number OCC 26-2. So I'll entertain a motion on that.
I make that motion.
Motion made by Brad,
I'll second.
second by Gail. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes 6-0. And it's just one time, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help. And sorry for all the messages and calls and weekends and all the things that I had to do, so.
It's okay, I agree with Brad said, there's
Okay.
emails sent back and forth.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, because of that.
Okay. All right,
Thank you,
next,
Mr. Garner.
safe travels home.
Thank you, Gail.
Next, we have attorney contract, and I did want to talk about that. Rod wasn't able to be here today, and he's out of town, so he wasn't able to send me the updated one. It's the exact same as last year, the contract, except for he would like to request a $40 a month increase. So instead of, I had that. He wants $6,000 a year instead of, what was it? Let's see. Yeah, I have it. Hold on a second. But everything else is the same. He's just requesting the $40 a month increase, I think, right? So, yeah, right here. There it is. Silly thing. Okay. Yep, it was, for the week set forth, the county shall pay the attorney an annual fee of $5,460, payable monthly $455 a month, but he would like to request $6,000 instead of $5,460 for a $500 even a month payment. So that would require an additional appropriation because we budgeted only what we had last year. If you want to do that, we could do, I guess, a motion of intent to, would that be appropriate?
Yeah, you can do
A motion of intent, use
and then
the
we have
funds
to
we
come
have
back.
now and then come back in March. So it's up to you guys. I just told Rod that I would bring that forward, so. And then he will get this next week to us.
I'll make that motion. Contain.
Motion of intent to increase to the $500 a month.
Requested amount.
Okay, motion made by Corey for the $6,000 annual, $500 a month. Motion of intent.
I'll second it.
Second by Paul. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I do.
What's his contract say? Because I do have this, I mean, is he required to be at these meetings? I mean, his attendance at these meetings is not doable. I mean, he's not here at the majority of the
It
meetings.
says he'll make a good faith effort to attend the monthly meetings
See,
or
his
special
his
meetings.
old contract, you see, and I think he's changed it,
Mhm.
because his old contract used to say he was required to
It's
attend
not required.
It just,
No, it's not. It's make a good faith effort. And then, of course, if there are things that we request that we need him to be here for, he will do that. Because he has done that before. So we'll get this next week, okay? Okay, for you to get signed. The last thing we have is the Indiana Region 15 internal appointment. That's what Nicole said, right?
Can I say something real quick?
Huh?
Can I speak for a minute, just as your chief financial officer, and I know it's getting late, but I really feel like I need to say something.
Okay.
It is really hard as a office manager and an elected official to run an office. And it's a really, really hard pill to swallow when there's several offices are dealing with what they're dealing with. And to sit through October, okay, with you guys, which was a very difficult time. And we had to cut so much and sit here and tell everyone that these are things that we hate to do. These are things that we don't want to do. You know, say it however you want, but county employees, other than on the court side, are making less in 2026 than they were in 2025. You can say it however you want, but that's the truth of the matter. there are entities within this county that we were not able to fund. And my office hears a lot of that. The 4-H, the senior citizens, the Ride Solutions, all that. While I commend what you guys have done for the Sheriff's Department, which I think is a wonderful thing, and I hope it's a good start to more good things to come, it's hard to see that we went through all this in October, that where it was like, we don't have any choice, we have to do this. But the things that have been done over the last 4 months to where we'll find the money, looking at tools in other offices that are not necessary, they're wants. I think we need to let our elected officials and our departments have a say. I think we need to have more teamwork between our commissioners, our council, and our fellow elected officials and department heads. And I'm gonna bring this up, and it's not a really big thing, but there was not even a discussion. An attorney asked for more money, and I might be speaking out of turn, but I haven't seen presence. I haven't seen a whole lot, and not a discussion was had. It was just a motion to give him more money. But yet, your employees that work every day and serve the public and do this, you're not even batting an eye. I'm gonna be honest, I have 2 employees right now in my office that are looking for another job. And I regret, and I freak out every time. One of them came to me yesterday and said, can I talk to you for a minute? And you know what I thought? I'm losing that. So I am just asking you guys to please, I don't even know what to say. That really
We had a
stung.
discussion a while ago about hiring an engineer and rearranging things, and we spoke to that issue there, okay? We are doing what we can. This attorney situation, I was hesitant as well to approve it, but we have to have an attorney. And yes, we have to have employees as well. I'm not discounting that. I don't think we're as able to say no to the attorney. I just, honestly, we are struggling
You're struggling.
to do this, to take care of the highway department. We're struggling to maintain employees for public safety, people who put on a Kevlar vest every day. And we're searching for all the avenues we can possibly find. And those avenues are going to dry up. And we have, again, I am concerned, and I think that's the reason we had this discussion that David brought up, that Kelly brought up. We were going to struggle to find ways to live up to this promise, okay? And I don't think we can make promises that we can't sustain. And yes, I understand that the county employees, they think they got a pay cut regardless of whether you call a stipend a bonus or not. We are aware of it. We struggled with it. I still would make the same decision, but yes, I understand your concern. And again, I am sensitive to what you said, but
Like I said, it's just fighting.
tough decisions got to be made, and I think we
And
made
I
them.
understand that, but you didn't nobody batted an eye.
Wait.
To give an attorney, give the attorney more money.
You didn't see.
Chris, I thought this through. I went back and looked and tried to find when the last time he asked for an increase. There are multiple increases that have happened with county employees when he did not get an increase. And so, it's $540. I'm not saying that it's nothing, but Brad does have a point that there is a specialty to that. Chris, please stop. There is a specialty to an attorney. We have limited resources for attorneys. It is a $540 investment for a year. Again, there has not been an increase. So, to say that we didn't think about it, I think that is not fair because I absolutely thought about that. I have mulled this over in my head. Just because I didn't vocalize it at this meeting doesn't mean that I haven't thought about
He
it.
doesn't always attend our meetings, but there's many times that we are consulting with him.
Yes,
I've called
that
him
is correct.
twice.
I have talked to him multiple times on this sheriff's salary matrix. I have bothered him on the weekends. I have got him after hours. So that stuff is important to me, that he is responsive to us, whenever we need something, so that was into my
I just
consideration
felt
also,
like I
so,
needed to say something because
Yeah.
the
okay.
employees are
taken.
feeling it.
I understand, but we have to make these decisions, and
That's absolutely right.
that's what we did, so.
Thank you, Chris.
The next item on the agenda is Indiana Region 15 internal appointment. And do we have anybody interested in sitting on the Region 15 board? I guess we have one, Nicole
I'm
said. we have
appointed.
one that's-
I'm
You
already
have one
on.
internal, you have an internal appointment, so
Yeah,
it's an
well,
internal.
I'm appointed by the commissioners, so I don't think that would
does it have
fit
to be,
both categories, would it?
No,
does he have to be the external?
No, but then the commissioners will have to appoint somebody else.
Yeah, okay.
I'll do it if the commissioners want to appoint somebody else, but I'm already going to the meeting.
Is there
next
anybody
week.
on the council that would like to be on the Region 15 board? I did it for a couple of years, so.
I did for several years.
Yeah. Anybody have any interest on that?
Stay married.
Stay married?
Yeah. I said it was-
Well, they don't meet that often. Okay, I'll do it. I need one more thing. I'm interested, I guess.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Corey,
I'll second it.
second by Paul. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, no nays. I could have said nay. That would've been good. All right, so we do have a joint work session Monday. We didn't put that on. A joint work session at 5 o'clock Monday in the Perry County Memorial Hospital Education Training Room. Is that what they call it, Corey? To discuss EMS. They invited us out there, the hospital board and the hospital admin, the council and commissioners to. It's just a work session, so there won't be any public comments. It's just, we can't make any decisions. It's just basically to figure out what we want to do with EMS or whatever they're wanting to talk to us about, so.
But public can attend?
Yeah,
Correct.
sure.
But-
And I do want to say that was my mistake.
Yeah.
The WAPACA, I want to say this in a public meeting.
Yeah.
The WAPACA meeting, is not able to attend due to the location and physicalities that being discussed. And I was under the understanding that both of them were not open to the public. That was, corrected to me within 10 minutes of me, actually even getting that. I corrected it within the hour. So apparently news travels really, really quick in Perry County.
Yeah,
So that
but
message,
it's never been a secret meeting. So
Yes.
if you hear we're having secret meetings, that is incorrect. So,
Is it gonna be streamed?
yeah,
Yes.
I asked JB if they had that capability. I wasn't real sure. I had heard that they had cameras, but he said as long as we have our YouTube login, and I think we're gonna go check it, right?
yes,
Or
we
we're
just
gonna-
got that lined up today to live stream
Yeah.
it. We weren't positive we were gonna be able to live stream.
And if we weren't gonna be able to, we would have had to move it, so. It wouldn't be comfortable probably out at the Armory, just because of the number of people that would have to be there. I don't know that that's it. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna test it, I think, and log in and, okay, tomorrow. Okay. So then the next regularly scheduled county council meeting will be Thursday, February 26th at 5 o'clock. So if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh,
I didn't get it sent to Chris probably in time for her to see it.
Yeah.
I had 2 more operators that had quit and I'm
Yeah.
asking permission to replace those.
is that the ones that you said at the commissioner meeting the other day? Okay. You just want permission to publish?
Advertise.
Yeah.
We'll just add 2 more.
You have 2 right now. Operators,
4 operators, 4 truck driver openings.
total with these 2. So you have 2 and then you want to add 2 more.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it'll be 4 and 4 now.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we will get that updated. I
I'll
guess.
entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Motion made by Brad,
I'll second it.
second by Paul. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. I heard you say that at the,
Did we do an agenda?
yeah, we made a motion to adjourn. didn't we?
Yeah, they seconded.
Okay.
I heard that. I
Now
thought
I'm
they said it by
confused.
paper.
You threw me off.
Long meeting.
We adjourned, sorry.
There I said.
All in favor,